Good evening, everybody. My camera
Hello.
settings are all messed up, but I can fix that.
Yeah, and so today we have a pretty special treat for you guys since the Rito has broken those match histories. We are going to be live casting a game of GSM versus Perp and Black right here.
Yeah, so GSM and Perp and Black, two teams in the Diamond Shadow Isles Conference. I just realized that I've made a mistake with where I've put the team names. It should be.
Yes, yes. You don't need to see the other three bands until
Yeah,
you.
who needs bands? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, bands are overrated. Just no band all the way through, and just go with what you got. But right now we're seeing some pretty typical bands. Look like we're banding out the ADCs. We have two ADCs banned. Thresh banned, pretty good one. Don't want since it is an engaged support meta. Then we have Vladimir, which is also a pretty good pick. He is very strong once he gets to the mid parts of the game. I don't know these players personally, so I don't know how well they do on these champions. But overall, these are really good meta champions they are banning out.
Yeah, General Vici in particular does play a very mean Vladimir. So if I were purple and black, I would definitely be a lot more scared of that Vladimir than, well, a lot of other things. Of course, we've seen him play Yorick, split pushers a few times, but Vladimir is definitely the strong one, the scary one when it comes to team fighting. Zoe is going to be the first lock here for Purple and Black, assumedly going to Duckster.
Yeah, and with that, Zoe first pick is pretty strong. They have a lot of AP right there, so if they wanted to, they could choose to just draft the rest of them, everyone else AD because of how much ability power damage that Zoe provides. Not consistent enough, but it would be probably smarter to get a AP jungler alongside of that just to even it out, or an AP top laner.
Yeah, AP jungler or an AP top laner. Let's see. What are we going through? We didn't really talk about the other side of the bands, or like the bands aside from Thresh and Vladimir. Misfortune, Jinx, Syndra, and Aphelios. So that's three ADCs. Two of them very specifically targeting Rito Torchic, who has had many standout performances on Jinx, and is definitely no slouch at Misfortune either. But the Ashe is going to round out the Nautilus, and GSM's bot lane is locked in for this game.
Yeah, a Nautilus and Ashe pretty strong. Ashe having a lot of DPS once she is able to stick onto a target thanks to her frost shot. And Nautilus, which is really good at locking down someone and keeping them in place so then Ashe can do all that damage she needs to do.
There we go.
And
Sounds a
as
lot cooler with music.
yes, and now Maokai being locked in for the second pick, either being the top lane or the jungle. With these, this is 10.6, so this is post the Bombi Cinder changes. So he's definitely going to still be. He's definitely returned into the meta thanks to all the Bambi Cinder changes since he builds a lot of health, and he just synergizes really well with how Bombi Cinder works.
The Maokai is an interesting pickup to me because a lot of the time in professional play, which is where we mostly see Maokai, it's a mid lane counter pick rather than a traditional top lane. We have seen him just a little bit in the jungle, but mainly the mid lane pick. I believe Bjergsen and a couple of other LCS mid laners have played that to fairly good effect, but it looks like this Maokai will either be going into the top lane or back to his home in the trees. Xayah and Graves are going to round out the first part of the draft, and now the second round of bans is going to come through.
Blitzcrank, pretty interesting ban. They do have an engaged support with Ashe being an immobile ADC. Banning out these supports that can really get on top of this Ashe is a pretty smart move onto GSM side.
And Blitzcrank is also a fairly low execution threshold. He's not some kind of crazy mechanical support. You basically just have to hit one skill shot, and that is going to be it. Mordekaiser is going to be banned away from General Vici, and that's a very characteristic pick for him that they are taking away. A split push, dueling type. Literally, his ultimate is the 1v1 button. So General Vici is not going to have the benefit of the Mordekaiser for this one, but two more bans before the picks come out, and GSM will be getting the first one.
Uh, banning out the Rakan, pretty smart considering that we have the Zaya. Do not want to see that Rakan Zaya duo because of how strong each of them just play off each other. Both of them really good standalone champions, but once you have them together, they really just round each other out and make up for any downfalls the other has.
And the final one will be Diana away from King Shamer 102. I am not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head if King Shamer has played this before, but it is something that we see in all levels of play between Gold and Professional. So Diana is a good ban away, especially since Diana can really get on top of Zoe and ruin her day.
Definitely so. And now first pick of the second round for GSM is going to be Pled for General GT. Another, like you said, really good dueling type, and he has some split push potential as well. Especially with his charge, meaning that he can split push and then still make his way over and rotate.
I mean, not to mention, he's got the hard engage button, so this is something that that GSM definitely would like to see, especially with the Nautilus Ashe engage that they have there in the bot lane. And a good team fighting mid laner should round out this composition for them, but the Yuumi is being hovered after the Wukong pickup, so this is presumably... Actually, either of them can flex either direction. I think it will end up being a Wukong top, the Maokai jungle, but you never know.
Yeah, they did add in a little bit of jungle support for Wukong with his, this is the reworked Wukong. So his, a little bit of jungle help is that his passive also stacks on, large monsters in the jungle. So he can get quite a bit of armor to have a very strong sustain. Looks like this is going to be a mid lane Graves, if I had to guess.
Mid lane Graves, Gragas jungle, and it is something that we've seen. I believe we actually saw it yesterday in the Platinum capped game. I believe it was Sensei Squad versus Divine Ascension Gaming. Did they play a Graves mid?
Yeah, I do remember seeing a Graves mid. He did pretty well considering how he had a pretty decent wave clear potential, and then he was doing quite a bit of damage, but I don't think they didn't win that game, did they?
They didn't win that game, and we did criticize the Graves build because it was Death Dance into Spirit Visage, and then he picked up a Duskblade of Drakthar. So that was a little bit sus on in our opinion. But hopefully King Shamer should build Graves a little bit better. The Zoe feels like a better matchup for him, I think. She's got a lot of easily projected abilities, and Graves should be able to dance around that fairly easily, especially with the new Death Stance changes.
And I would be interested to see if King Shamer does build the Death Stance as a first item. It is a very strong item for these bruiser types. It is a little nerfed for ranged champions because it only turned 20% of the damage into a bleed rather than the full 30%. So that is a little bit of a downside, but we do still see a lot of use coming out of that with all the resistances, all the damage, and all that lifesteal that you can get. Especially helps out a lot when turning down the burst potential that Zoe has.
Yeah, Graves, not necessarily a tank mid laner. That would go to people like Maokai or Galio, but definitely a tankier, bruisery sort of mid laner is a little more of a counter to Zoe just because she can't blow him up all in one hit like she can to so many other burst mages or like artillery mages like, say, Xerath.
Yeah, definitely so. And then with the jungle, it looks like I was correct. Maybe at least it looks. I mean, they could tentatively switch lanes and Kyler G go into jungle, but it looks like from Champ Select, it looks like Wukong is going to go into the jungle here versus the Gragas, which is a pretty interesting one. Wukong has a pretty decent amount of damage to go against this Gragas, and I'm not sure how the interaction works whenever Wukong uses his E, how it makes those separate clones, and Gragas tries to body slam into it.
Yeah, Body Slam is a very small AoE ability, so if Wukong's close enough and Gragas hits the clone, I suppose that could knock up. But we will have to see how Wukong ganks here. New ish reworked champion, so it might be a little bit interesting to see how Mediocre Hats plays this. Shiny Bidoof, on the other hand, he is no stranger to Gragas, frequently watering the bushes in his games with GSM. And I am interested, though, with the Maokai versus this very heavy AD team for GSM.
Yeah, AD heavy having uh typical ADC in the bot lane since they banned out the Syndra. Can't pick that one in the bot lane. We have Graves mid, very AD heavy, and then Kled, which has no AP scaling anywhere. So it would be up to Gragas and the Nautilus to be really doing the AP damage, but Nautilus is going to go tank. So it's really just Gragas going full on out with the ability damage.
Yeah, of course, Blade of the Ruined King for Ashe should help a little bit, but still, that's all physical damage, so Maokai just needs to build armor, and it will pretty much be okay for him. So we are going to get into game very shortly as we load into the Rift, and this is Perp and Black versus GSM here for Diamond Capped Shadow Isles Week 9.
Yeah, and just one more thing on a note. I I don't think that General V2 will really build it, but with these new Blade Rune King changes, I would love to see if he would build one, just because it does so much more as a melee champion when you build that Blade Rune King now.
Yeah, and Wukong is much more bruisery. Blade of the Ruined King was something that he usually avoided before the rework, mostly just because he wanted to burst squishies so much. But with these changes to make him more bruiser focused, this reworked Blade of the Ruined King buffed for melee champions. This should be a lot more interesting to see how he plays around the tanky boys of Nautilus, Gragas, and Kled. So in a couple of moments, we should be loading into the Rift, and hopefully we will get to get the early game in, but we're stuck at 94%, so...
Hey, same here. But so I do want to point out another thing. Ashe having Hail Blades. Typically, you'd see a lethal tempo just for that late game doing a lot of damage, but it looks like they're aiming for a bit more of an early to mid game strategy using these Hail Blades, looking for the engages from Nautilus and getting a lot of quick damage out.
Yeah, usually you see usually you see lethal tempo rather than hail of blades. Sometimes you get the press the attack, just because Ashe already builds a bunch of attack speed. But just in general, Hail of Blades, yeah, as you said, very early game focused. She wants to get these trades with the empowered auto attack damage from her passive, and hopefully for the bot lane of GSM, this should be able to take skirmish wins over the Xayah Leona, which can get very scary early game if left unchecked, especially at level 2.
Yep, the level 2 potential that Leona has alongside of Xayah is definitely going to be a terrifying one. Nautilus and Ashe has a decent level 2, but not so if they can get the jump onto the level 2 before Xayah and Leona, it can definitely go into their favor. But it will just have to see how well each member plays it out.
The one other interesting thing in these lane matchups that I don't think we've really addressed is the Kled Maokai. Maokai, obviously being super tanky, can build just a lot of armor and try and counter Kled. That is nice for him, but Kled having those built-in grievous wounds might make it a lot harder for Maokai to sustain through these fights, especially once Ashe or Graves goes ahead and picks up an Executioner's Calling. His effectiveness might be mitigated a fair amount, since a lot of Maokai's strength isn't necessarily having a ball of stats, but it's that he keeps healing up whenever you try to kill him.
Yep, definitely so. And since it is a mostly AD team, grabbing Executioners is a much cheaper and effective item to get your grievous wounds, rather than if it was a lot of AP team, then you had to rely more so on getting a Morellonomicon, which is like building the Oblivion Orb, which is good stats, the Blasting Wand, good stats, but then spending that extra bit of gold just so you can have full grievous wounds, rather than you can go ahead and just spend about 800 gold in order to get the grievous wounds.
Yeah, it's 800 gold for an Executioner's versus the full 3,500 or whatever it is for the Morellonomicon, and that is something that it has been hotly debated this split in professional play because so many people will spend that extra gold to upgrade the Morellonomicon without necessarily thinking about who's using the healing. So
Yeah,
here we go.
yeah. Here we go. Finally seen the game. People are loading in, and I guess we haven't really done introductions yet, but I'll go ahead and start off with Purple and Block on Purple and Black. On the blue side, Kyler G in the top lane playing Maokai, Meteor Hats playing the Wukong in the jungle, Dusker playing the Zoe in the mid lane, Heights playing the Zaya, and Thorn playing the Leona in the bot lane.
Meanwhile, on the red side, Gecko Slammer, Armageddon, Diamond. We've got General Vici in the top lane on Kled, the Shiny Bidoof in the jungle on Gragas, Kinkshamer 102 on the mid lane Graves, and our bot lane Rito Torchic, who just reconnected, and Himana on Ashe and Nautilus. Quick pause due to a disconnect from Rito Torchic, but hopefully this will be fixed in a second.
Yeah, we had already GSM's original support have to look for a sub because of his computer issues, but hopefully Real Torchic is not experiencing the same. Maybe it's just internet.
He does.
But
I know for a fact he lives in rural Nevada, so internet isn't the best out there, and he has been complaining at length about how this whole coronavirus situation is not conducive to him climbing in solo queue or winning in GRLCS.
But while we're waiting, let's see what else can we think of to take. The Graves, let's see, let's start off with the Graves taking Electrocute. A good rune overall, but I do think that he might have an issue trying to stick onto Dusker and Archite. Generally, I see Graves running Phase Rush, which is pretty weird, but hold on to the fact that it's a lot of movement speed in order to stick on to someone and do a lot of your barrel stuffing that Graves wants to do a tons of damage, and he has a lot of tons of damage already built into his kit.
Yeah, Graves having Electrocute is an interesting one, as you said. Phase Rush is the traditional one just to keep onto the slightly more mobile, not really, but slightly more mobile with Duckster and Archites. Otherwise, a lot of ADCs, or a lot of Graveses, will take Conqueror if they're looking for that tankier sort of trading Graves, just so that they can fight a little bit longer. But there is a 5-man stack here for GSM. They're trying to find an invade. They are going to pick up Archites. Archites is rooted, just killed, and Kinkshamer picks up first blood.
Well, and that's going to be the first kill of the game. We might be able to see something pretty interesting going on. Everyone grabbing an assist, and the mid laner picking up the first kill is definitely going to be pretty good. He had to use his. Oh, looks like they stacked the Ignite together, the mid laner and the support at the same time, so they both won't have that available. But still, a kill's a kill, and an extra sword in lane is definitely going to help.
Yeah, extra sword should be able to help Kinkshamer push out and allow Shiny Bidoof to secure a little bit more jungle pressure, just because he will have his ADC, or he will have his mid laner there able to roam a little bit better than Duckster would. So early W here for GSM, and we're gonna have to see how it plays out later in the game. Now, another engage on Archites, who still has flash because he didn't use it last time. Rito Torchic now moving forward, but taking a lot of damage and canceling auto attacks. Dalaran is gonna walk away, and GSM doesn't find anything other than a good trade.
Yep, good trade is always appreciated, especially when you're looking to grab this level 2 advantage first. They can push out these lanes just a little bit better and without fear, because they can just go ahead and start poking out the minions while High Mana goes ahead and pokes them out. But right now, General VC and Kyler G is duking out in the top lane.
General Vici does get Kyler G fairly low, but they trade nearly even thanks to the built-in heal from Kyler G's passive. The Grievous Wounds as mentioned earlier, they are in effect. It's just not necessarily that great at this early stage of the game. But Kinkshamer is now ignited, running away. He has to flash. Mediocre Hats might have to flash as well to secure the kill. Duckster picks it up. No, he actually uses his own flash, but Kinkshamer is going to go down Mediocre Hats with the return kill.
Yep. Dusker using his flash so he can pick up the grazed flash in case he gets a little too far away. But not necessary because Mediocre Hats was able to pick it up for him.
So flash for flash, actually, in this mid lane. Kinkshamer and Duckster will have it up nearly at the same time, but Mediocre Hats is here in the bot lane. Now Dalarum is going to stun up Himana. Himana has to flash, and Mediocre Hats goes back in. Archeight's trying to find some chip damage, but aside from the flash burns, the health difference is negligible at best, but Mediocre Hats here for a return gank. He is going to jump on Rito Torchic, do some damage, and Himana is not able to find a dredge line. No kill.
No kill there. We did see the AL Blades putting in a little bit of work onto Delorium. We saw that increased attack speed was actually bringing down Delorium by quite a bit, and making quite a difference into that trade where it could have been a lot worse because of how short that trade was. They basically left as soon as they started because Himana already used his flash in order to get out. So maybe the Halo Blades is catching on right here.
Shiny Bidoof gets slept up, but Kinkshamer gets a great return trade onto Duckster. Now General Vici does get the jump back onto Scarl, and Mediocre Hats is here just to hit Shiny Bidoof a little bit. No Zenith Blade is going to find its mark by Dalarum, and it looks like a semblance of normality has returned to this bot lane.
Yeah, a little bit of counter jungling done by Mediocre Hats, taking the Gromp on the side of GSM right there, and potentially maybe find himself caught if the Shiny Bidoof moves just a little bit over and finds him, but Mediocre Hats is going to be able to move right on out safely thanks to all that priority his bot and mid lane is providing.
Yeah, I mentioned the priority earlier that Kinkshamer should have because of that solo kill, just being able to push harder and trade a little bit better. But after he died there, that priority kind of vanished somewhat. So now Kinkshamer and Duckster, although the GSM mid laner has the CS advantage, it seems like Duckster has the priority, and it is going to mean that the dragon goes over to Perp and Black here at 5 minutes.
Kyler G looked like he was trying to negate the at least the pull from the bear trap, which kind of worked, but the grievous wounds will still apply onto him. So good to know that interaction for later on, knowing that he will not be able to use that in order to escape out of it.
Yeah, he doesn't escape out of the damage or the grievous wounds, but he certainly does escape from the pullback, which is one of the scarier parts of trying to fight Kled early in this game. However, General Vici is going very low. He might actually get knocked off of the Scarl. He will. So now he is once again weak and does not have an ultimate to use.
Yeah, but thanks that he's dropped off of Scarl means that he can start looking to build up his courage bar or rage bar, that second bar that he has, in order to get his Scarl back and be at a much healthier position to fight Kyler G.
Shiny Bidoof is here in the back line, and Himana is actually going to commit the Ignite early. Shiny Bidoof jumps in and forces the flash from both bot laners. So an Ignite for 2 flashes, even though Rito Torchic took some unnecessary damage, it is going to be a win in the favor of GSM here.
Yep, taking 2 flashes does mean that the Shiny Bidoof has that window of opportunity if he wants to come back for a repeat gank, or just a gank again in the bot lane for that, was it 6-minute window, 5-minute window?
5-minute window for flashes.
Yes. Right. They made TP like a 7 or 6 minute, 7-minute cooldown level 1, but then lowers as it goes down. Yeah.
Interesting teleport changes in this past patch. They nerfed the ever-living hell out of it last year, which basically made they were trying to keep bot laners from taking it, was the thing, because so many ADCs would take teleport and then just go, they would use it early game for early backs, and then they would use it to clear waves later in the game. But they nerfed it so hard that only top laners could take it, but it was still a bad rune. Now, with top laners complaining about their lack of impact on the rest of the map, the Riot Balance team decided to buff it a little bit, change around the cooldown so that it scales with your level, but then also give movement speed when you teleport. Now Kingshamer taking some damage, but he uses the ultimate, and now General Vici is coming in with the charge. However, there's nothing to be had there.
Because, never mind, in the bot lane having a little bit of action first.
Little bit of trade onto Archites. Rito Torchic does get rooted up, but the ultimate comes up by Rito Torchic. Himana moving forward. Rito Torchic is stunned, so he can't find that last auto attack, but the heal is committed by Archites, who does not yet have his ultimate.
Yeah, while Himana does...
Oh, and you're interrupted again because the re-engage is here. The Ignite comes out onto Rito Torchic. Dalaran gets the kill, but Mediocre Hats is here. They're going to find Himana for the return, and Himana himself got a kill onto the ADC, so it's a 2-for-1 in favor of PnB.
Yeah, picking up those kills is pretty nice. Unfortunately, one of them did go on to the support in return. Top lane having a fight now. I'm not going to be able to finish my thoughts anymore.
It's just, they don't want you to do that. General Vici now moving up onto Kyler G. He's so low, and Shiny Bidoof coming through. He has the Rift Herald, he has the ultimate, but he's going to take 2 turret shots and then do nothing. So much damage wasted here by GSM, but they have the Rift Herald in the pocket of the Gragas, and they are going to drop it.
They already pinged out Maokai's teleport early on in the game, so that means they'll be able to go ahead and know that they'll be able to take this tower, or at least the platings from it, pretty easily. And now a little more action in the bot lane.
A flash by Himana is going to force the flash from Mediocre Hats, and now General Vici has effectively 3 turret plates in his pocket here after this one goes down. So that is a huge win for the top jungle duo of GSM. Meanwhile, Mediocre Hats not having a flash is going to be much better for Kingshamer here.
Yeah, we have Kingshamer. It looks like he's building towards one of the lethality items, either Dustblade or Yomu's, while on the flip side we have Zoe going to the typical Lost Chapter, which is probably going to go towards a Ludens, but the one I want to point out is General Vici. He's picking up a Village Water, which builds into the Blade Rune King.
Now, Archites uses the ultimate, and the depth charge is going to be committed by Himana. Archites going very low. He might go down. That's one more auto attack, and Rito Torchic is going to get it. Now, he has flashed forward for this, so Mediocre Hats is going to get so much damage. The second charge of the Wukong ultimate is going to secure the kill there. Dalaran actually takes this one, and Mediocre Hats now on a killing spree, picking up Himana for number 3 of this game. Now, ooh, Shiny Bidoof from downtown. Duckster gets the snipe.
Yeah, Kingshamer had the option to dash in and try to body block for his jungler there, but that would just have been a trade kill for a kill rather than on to Kingshamer rather than onto Shiny Bidoof, so wouldn't make too much of a difference there whether he blocked it or not.
Duckster is fairly strong, does a little bit of damage here. It's got a Lost Chapter and 2 Doran's Rings. So yeah, that, as you said, that would have been a death either way. It's just that Shiny Bidoof ended up being the one going back to the fountain rather than Kingshamer. Now the second dragon is going to go over to Purple and Black. They have a 2-0 lead, and this is a Mountain Rift, which will just be so good if either team can get it. Either you've got that Maokai Hyper Tank, or you've got Nautilus and General Vici's Kled. Now, Rito Torchic gets engaged on just a little bit. Himana is going to move forward, going to find the route onto Dalaran, but Dalaran flashes forward, and Archites is going to pick up a kill on Rito Torchic. Now, Shiny Bidoof flashes in, tries to find Archites. Are they going to get it? It looks like they will. Himana picks up the kill, and Shiny Bidoof zones away the Leona.
Yeah, zoning out or at least getting a return kill, but the mid laner is here in the bot lane as well.
Oh, and we're unfortunately not going to see anything found for Purple and Black, but now Kyler G is gonna zone away General Vici using that ultimate, and he's gonna keep Kled from finding a solo kill here, which is basically the name of the game when you play against General Vici.
Yeah, General Vici, once he picks up a few kills underneath his belt, which he essentially did with that tower, with all those tower platings going down to him. But if you give him a couple kills worth of,
Ugh. Himana did a pretty good job. He actually tried to close the gap and get Duckster closer so he would take less damage from the Paddle Star, but unfortunately for him, Mediocre Hats was there and was able to pick up the kill for himself. So now we actually see Perp Black at a 4-kill lead and an 800 gold lead, nearing 1,000 here on the first place team of Diamond Shadow Isles, which I don't think anyone expected going into this game, considering Perp Black is 1-7.
Yeah, and their one was actually due to, I believe it was a forfeit against
Oh, is that
I
the
looked it up previously.
Georgian Gromp game?
Yeah, they played out. No, it was Peter time.
Peter
they
time.
They played 2 games. Peter time winning the first one, and then Perfect Black winning the second one. But then a forfeit due to Peter time. I'm not sure for what reasons, but having to give up the last game to be a tiebreaker.
Probably time issues. If you've got those long games and everyone's got work in the morning, sometimes it's just a little less damaging to forfeit the game. God knows I've done it before.
That is definitely fair. You got to worry about your own situation sometimes rather than a little tournament from Oklahoma. So.
It's only game. Why you have to be mad? But now, Dalarum and Archites looking pretty strong here in this bot lane. Archites is actually 1-4, with Dalarum being the true power here. He's 2-0-3. But Rito Torchic not faring much better here in the bot lane. It is going to mean that Perp Black should have control over this duo lane.
It's actually Ashe support and Xayah support, and real carries are the Nautilus and the Leona in these lanes. Seeing that they both have 2 kills underneath their belts.
Yeah, and however, Rito Torchic is going to get caught, doesn't have the flash, and it looks like Archites is going to be finding a kill here. Dalarum, no! Another one! The flash over by Mediocre Hats is going to get the stun onto Himana, and they're going to find a double... Son of a... Dalarum, stop taking the kills from your team! Now, Shiny Bidoof is going to go down as Kyler G picks up a 2v1 solo kill here. And now the charge comes out. General Vici is going to get a little bit of healing thanks to the Bilgewater Cutlass. Kyler G is going to be able to walk away, and the bot lane turret falls in favor of Perp Black. They now have a 2,500 gold lead here over the first place team in Shadow Isles.
Yes, but we have seen that GSM is very much so a late game comp team, because they always look for this late game comp. Means that they're always really good at executing it, even if they're falling a little bit behind.
Ooh! Flash is traded left and right, and Duckster barely walks away with his life as Kinkshamer falls in a 1v1 solo kill here for the Zoe. But General Vici might be trying to find something. He has the flash, he's going to move forward. Duckster uses the stolen flash, gets out of the Kled, and now Mediocre Hats is going to pick up the kill there. And that is just another disastrous attempt here for GSM.
Yeah, this is not looking too great because they're giving up some of these advantages they had. They had General Vici, who was farming really well, and even as his top lane, picking up the tower there. But now that he has given the kill off, it just means that there's not exactly too many people they can look to depend on.
Himana was waiting in the bush. He is going to find Dalarum for a fair amount of damage. The ultimate going to come out, the Solar Flare committed. Now Rito Torchic moving forward, but Himana takes half his health thanks to Duckster's Paddle Star. Kinkshamer is here, and it could be just a 4v4 team fight. The ultimate comes out from Ashe. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow going to stun on Archites. Dalarum going very low, and General Vici teleports in. However, the Shiny Bidoof is going to go down. Mediocre Hats with the kill. Now he uses the Whirlwind. Himana is going to lose his life as well, but meanwhile, General Vici in the backline, going to find a double kill for himself. He is, however, going to go down, and it is a 4-for-2, and Perp Black take another huge teamfight win.
Yeah, this Blade Rune King start item, although I appreciate how he actually built the item, but it's a little too late considering that his laning phase is over. So these team fights that he's now in is not faring very well for him, seeing that Purple Black has taken all 3 dragons so far. As for King Shimmer, who is still looking to try to scale himself up and might be caught out here.
Mediocre Hat's just so strong. 7-0-3 for the Wukong. He's got the Warrior Enchant finished, and it looks like he is building toward that Trinity Force. He's got 2 of the 3 component items and a dagger for the Stinger. But it does not look like Purple Black will be able to find this mid lane tower. And the Shiny Bidoof and Himana might be able to find something and try and claw their way back in this game. Anything can happen here.
There are pretty big bounties to be taken. Dolorum has lost his bounty earlier in that team fight, so that is one picked up for Rito Torchic. I believe it was the one who picked up the kill. It could have been General Vici, but Rito Torchic does have a kill now, so I want to say he managed to pick up that bounty. And then there's also pretty decent-sized bounties on Dutzer and Kyler G, and a huge one onto Meteor Hat. So if they can get some pretty good picks out, which they have the bot lane to do so,
Rito
they can
Torchic
definitely make something happen.
Rito Torchic commits the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, though. That is one of their more important pick tools. Of course, the value of Himana's Depth Charge and Dredgeline cannot be overstated here, since Nautilus is one of those hook champions. So hopefully for GSM, they will be able to find some picks, get some of these shutdowns like you were saying, maybe put 1,000 gold into Rito Torchic's pocket as they kill Mediocre Hats. But for now, GSM is still down by about 3,500 gold here against Perp and Black.
Yeah, as for gold leads, we have General Vici, who is helping quite a bit. He has about 2k, almost 2k gold in favor for him. It's more so about a 1k, 1.3. So, and then for the jungler, on the other hand, he's losing by about 2k right there. So that negates the top lane lead, and then for mid lane, it's about 600 gold, and then it goes down to bot lane, which has done pretty well for themselves. We have Doran, who has picked up a lot of the lead for him, and then a slight lead in favor for Purple Black's ADC.
Yeah, it's funny that the bot lane is definitely the closest one, and it just seems to be because both teams' bot lanes aren't doing so great here in this game. Really, all of the power is situated on the top half of the map. Those top laners, those junglers, and of course, the mid laners.
Yeah, and hopefully with these strong pick tools they have, like I mentioned, with General Vici's Charge, Rito Torchic's Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and Himana's Depth Charge, they will be able to find those picks that they need onto Dusker, which is in that slippery, has the available for the portal jump to dodge, and then Meteor Hat can use his clone in order to maybe trick Himana's Depth Charge, or to block away the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and then eventually they'll be able to burn down Kyler G with some time, and yeah.
Yeah, Duckster being, a quote-unquote slippery champion is an interesting... it's interesting mostly because you would think Zoe doesn't actually have a true mobility ability. She just has the portal jump, which takes you back to the original position. So with so many different pick tools on GSM's side, they could try and use that in their favor. If, for example, you're going to use the Dredge line and try and go for the Zoe, she's going to have to portal jump away. When she comes back, you can get any of your other pick tools on her and just target the place where she's going to be coming back. But for now, GSM is still struggling to find a pick, but General Vici is actually going to have to use his Engage tool to disengage from Perp and Black's top jungle combo.
Yeah, and that's another important cooldown down. He has the TP available, so if he keeps, so he has the ability to keep matching up with Kyler G in this bot lane. We have the dragon coming up very soon, so Kyler G is going to take the opportunity to back, and then maybe use his TP if needed, start pushing a different lane. Or he's just going to go ahead and rotate with his team towards this dragon.
But it doesn't really seem like GSM is in much of a position to be controlling this dragon. They have no sweepers up. Well, Shiny Bidoof's literally just came up, but there are no wards on the side of Himana. He doesn't have any control wards, only one control ward total for GSM here in their pockets. KSU, on the other hand, has 4, now 3, as they've just dropped one. But PnB has full control here over this dragon, and now Duckster takes a lot of damage, but that is the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and now the Solar Flare flashes forward. Dalaran gonna get on top of Kinkshamer. He's gonna have to flash away. He does a lot of damage, and Dalaran actually does fall, but now General Vici is into Little Kled. He uses his flash, and he's gonna go down. The Shiny Bidoof as well, and that's gonna be 3 as Himana goes down as well. A double kill for Mediocre Hats, another 3 for 1 for KSU, and they're gonna find the Mountain Soul at 23 minutes here in this game.
And that's going to make things just so much harder with a super tank Maokai, and it looks like the Mediocre Hats is going to pick up a Death's Dance, which now gives resistances, so a little extra resistances for him thanks to these 2 Mountain Dragons. But like I said, GSM does have the ability to come back here. This is the first game of best of 3, so we do have still quite a bit ways to go, and they are, like I said, pretty strong late game scalers. I do want to point out this Ashe, pretty interesting build, is going for a Triforce, and if I'm not sure if you can see in her runes, but she actually has approach velocity. So every time, this is what I like to call the run them down Ashe, where you get the Essence Reaver, you get 40% CDR, and then you use your volleys to chase down your enemies thanks to approach velocity. But playing from behind, I'm not sure exactly how this build exactly goes.
Yeah, Rito Torchic is currently 2-5-4. I would like to say that he's even with Arc Heights, but Arc Heights has an additional 6 assists in his pocket that are going to more than even that out. So Rito Torchic has to be able to find enough gold here for his second item and hopefully be able to scale up, or else GSM may be in dire straits here. Rito Torchic really is their main carry, as Kinkshamer is going to start to fall off, and especially since he's building lethality, but he's not ahead. It's going to get a lot harder for him to do anything, especially once Zoe gets that Visanya's Hourglass, but Duckster, however, may not live that long. The shutdown comes through. Rito Torchic puts 600 gold in his back pocket and says, "Thank you very much, Mr. Zoe."
And with that 600 gold, it looks like he would have, he does have enough for it.
Oh, Shiny Bidoof and Rito Torchic, the counter synergy is going to stop the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but now they've split up Kyler G and Mediocre Hats. Kyler G cannot fight off a 3v1. He's gonna go down, and it looks like General Vici will be picking that one up. I would have liked to see it go into the pocket of Rito Torchic, but still, a kill is a kill.
Yeah, spreading the love, as they say, to spreading out these kills, getting everyone a little bit fed rather than having one hyper carry at ADC at that in order to help you carry these lanes.
And now maybe a third pick here, as Arc Heights has to go into the ultimate, and Kinkshamer gets one for himself. Look at that, sharing the love all around, and GSM manages to find some of these shutdowns that they need.
Yep, Ashe finishing that Triforce, looking to build another crit item, either the Infinity Edge in order to do a little extra damage, or a Zeal item to give him that attack speed boost that he would need.
Yeah, I'm split 50-50 on whether this is going to be for an Infinity Edge, or probably, if it's going to be a crit item, it's going to be the Runaan's Hurricane. That's just by far the best crit item on Ashe, just because all of her damage will be amplified with the passive, her passive Frost Shot.
Yeah, it would help out a ton, but we'll just see if here, Zenith Blade not going to connect onto Hamana, who got hit by the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and thanks to the Dredge Line Spider-Maning out of there.
Nautilus staying safe here. The last thing that GSM wants is to give up another kill. They have managed to leverage that kill lead, even it out a little bit. It's now 20-10, where it was like a 14 kill lead earlier, so we'll have to see what PnB do. They haven't been able to try and make a push onto this Baron, and with the Elder Drake not coming up for 2 more minutes, it looks like they are going to be pushing the mid lane. The Solar Flare is out. Rito Torchic has to flash away. Now Mediocre Hats tries to get on Himana. It's going to do a lot of damage, and Himana is going to fall to Duckster. Looks like the inner turret may be going down for PnB. They take another as they pick up that kill and walk away. General Vici can't even get in there. He doesn't have the teleport.
He does not have his teleport. He has the charge available, but charging into a 1v5 is definitely a hard one because you're forcing your team to try to follow up with you, or another life is sacrificed.
And Kled, of course, is a little more everyone 5-man run it down rather than trying to find flanks just because of the nature of his ult. Your speed boost only works when people are in it. So if you're trying to come from a different angle, you are probably not going to be finding that. But now Kinkshamer has the opportunity to get in there and try and steal. He is not going to get it. Mediocre Hats picks up the kill there. Now Shiny Bidoof actually flashed into the pit. He's going to go down. Archites with the kill. GSM not looking so hot here as the Baron goes over to Perp and Black.
Yeah, it was starting to look good whenever Rito, Torchic, and Hamana found these multiple pigs off of people. But now the Baron has given over to them, and the Elder Dragon is spawning up soon. They have their shields, they have the Baron buff, and they have the potential to keep on pushing these lanes. If they can get this Elder Dragon alongside of this Baron buff, they could probably end the game right there or then and there, because respawn timers are getting just a little bit long now.
And in the back of everyone's mind, as GSM fell behind early in this game, you just kind of thought, no, GSM probably won't lose, right? Perp and Black has only won one series against another lower tier team, and GSM just beat Return to the Middle Sticks not 3 weeks ago. So how is this happening that Perp and Black is actually taking it to the #1 team? But as the game goes further and further, as the lead stretches longer and longer, it seems like it just is infallible. KSU can do nothing wrong. Now Himana engaging 1v4. The ultimate comes out from Rito Torchic, and they are going to get Duckster very low. He's finally going to go down, but they trade for 2 members of their own team. Now, General Vici fighting 1v3 in the middle of it. He's not going to be able to find Arc Heights. He is going to have to flash away, and Mediocre Hats picks up the kill as he runs out. Now the flash over the wall, Dalarum and Kyler G are going to find Rito Torchic. Gets a double kill. It's another 4 for 1 for KSU. They're going to find the Elder Drake.
This is looking terrible for a side of GSM right now. Potentially they looked at for a little too many means getting these new items. The Blade Rune King looks like picking up the Death Stance as well. I personally love that they are trying these out, but maybe a little underestimating the enemy team instead of going what's currently meta, especially with the Wukong. He had some hot fixes right here, but they don't seem like they are enough. Seeing that the Wukong is now 11-0 with how much utility he gives to his team with the second knockup.
And Wukong even has a Death Stance of his own. GSM, they seem like they disrespected Perp and Black a little bit. They're going to pay for it in spades. They only lost Duckster, so all of the other 4 members here have both buffs for 30 more seconds before the Baron buff finally goes down, but it looks like they're rotating up to the top lane. They might be able to pick Shiny Bidoof here because Dalarum has his ultimate available again.
And if he's able to get this kill off, that could mean that another inhibitor would go down, because they will soon lose these Baron buff minions, but they're still going to have the Elder Dragon just for a little bit longer, which is definitely a strong sieging tool in terms of the threat it provides with the execution.
And with Zoe's long-range damage, with Arc Heights' DPS, I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination to say that Perp and Black are just going to pick up their second inhibitor here. It's 31 minutes, they're up 15 kills and 10,000 gold. They are going to reset and spend some of this hard-earned gold as they look to try and finish this out against GSM.
Finish this out indeed. They do look like they are just way too strong to deal with now, especially because Kinkshamer has invested so much money into these lethality items, which are now starting to fall off, especially with how much armor everyone's getting, just naturally getting armor. And then Meteor Hat, he gets a bunch of armor thanks to his passive. Kyler G already was stacking armor, and then yeah, again, a lot of natural armor gain makes this lethality a lot harder to see use of.
Not to mention Kinkshamer paying the tax. He is going to pick up a Quicksilver Sash, which just delays his power spikes even longer. If they're going to be able to find Shiny Bidoof here, Mediocre Hats gets a lot of damage. He does force 2 ultimates at the cost of 1 of his own. but it looks like Perp and Black are going to be pushing this bot lane. They're bringing 3 members here as Archites clears out the mid lane. They want to bring these super minions in and force GSM to respond.
And they no longer have the Elder Dragon buff, but that does not mean their team fighting potential is any worse off, because they were already doing pretty well in these team fights with how tanky DeLorean is in these and getting into this backline alongside of Meteor Hats, how well he can go from the front to the back and then right back to the front. Thanks to all the dashes Wukong has now.
Now the engage comes out from General Vici. It's a last-ditch fight. If GSM loses this, they could certainly lose the game right here. It's a 3-man mosh pit here in the middle of the fight. It's going to be Himana falling first, Shiny Bidoof going low as well. Meteor Hats is going to pick up the kill there. Now Dalarum re-engages. He might be able to find General Vici because Kyler G is here as well. It's going to be the pickup by Duckster. It is Dalarum falling, but still, it's a 3-for-1, and minions are pushing. It looks like the Perp and Black are gonna try and pick up this first game win here in the series against GSM. Super minions coming in. They've got the first turret down already. The second one falls now. The ultimate comes out from Mediocre Hats. He is going to be able to pick up the win for his team, and Perp and Black moves ahead to match point in the series.
Yeah, and that is pretty well played over by the side of Purple and Black. They did do an excellent job with this mid game, pushing out the advantage just further and further, making sure that everyone doesn't necessarily have their strengths. In the bot lane, it was looking a little questionable with DeLorean picking up 4 kills, 2 of them being a double kill back to back, and or 2 of them being a double kill. But being with all those extra gold, he was extra tanky, meaning that he dived onto that backline just very well. King Shaver not doing enough damage in order to stop all of the extra armor Thorm has. Rito Torchic doing a lot of damage, but not enough in order to fend off for his team. And then General Vici, Shiny Bidoof, and Haimana doing their best to stop that front line to get out onto your carries or that back line in order to keep off the damage, but it's just not enough. Purple and Black did an excellent job this game.
So now Purple and Black move up to 1-0 in this series. One more win, they will take down the first place team in Shadow Isles, and we will be right back in a couple of minutes as GSM detilts, resets, and figures out what they're going to do next game, but we will see you in just 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back. We actually just saw Perp and Black taking down Gecko Slammer Armageddon in Game 1 of this series here in Week 9 of the GRLCS 2020 Spring Split Diamond Division Shadow Isles Conference.
Yeah, and we're going to be switching sides here. We have GSM on the blue and purple and black on the red. First band being the Thresh, so it looks like they're really respecting Doran's pick for Thresh right here.
Meanwhile, the Vladimir is going to be taken away yet again by Perp and Black. They don't want General Vici on that. The Kled last game that General Vici was piloting did okay, but it really wasn't the team fight presence that GSM needed after they fell behind early in that game.
Look, I'm just going to say, he built both of the new items that I wanted to see. I'm going to say he's the winner in my books.
Maybe the winner in your books, but not in the official record books. So hopefully General Vici and the rest of GSM will be able to pull this back and try and go to a Game 3. Otherwise, Perp and Black might be walking away with their first true win of the season, and over the first place team to boot.
Yeah, and then we're going to have to rearrange our whole tier list once again. Then it turns into Purple and Black at the S plus tier, and then GSM, and then GSM to follow, and then Return of the Middle Stick.
So actually, the Zoe is going to be banned away by Perp and Black. It was what Duckster played last game, but I'm sure they don't want to let King Shamer play it. Meanwhile, the Wukong that dominated the game last time is going to be banned away by GSM, and they have first pick, and they're going to take away Leona and hand that over to Catalyst.
Yeah, you know, a 4-kill Leona was definitely a very scary one to see in the bot lane with how much potential they had to go in from quite a distance, not having to worry about the minions blocking the Zenith Blade, as opposed to Nautilus, who has to dodge around the minions in order to land his dredge line.
But that does mean that GSM left up Aphelios in this first ban phase, and it is going to be locked for Arc Heights. Hopefully GSM have a counter to that, or just a game plan that they can run with. Otherwise, Aphelios might dominate this game and hand Perp and Black a 2-0 clean win over GSM.
Yeah, looks like Gianna is going to be the support for Delorium playing the bot lane. Very different playstyle, but pretty smart one. It does counter Leona quite well using their tornadoes, as well as still providing a lot of good utility onto Aphelios.
However, there is no hard peel here with the Janna support, so Solar Flare could mean Aphelios' doom, especially when coupled with Frito Torchic's Jinx, and that is General Vici's Mordekaiser that we saw banned away last game.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these banned champions coming out because they opted into look for stopping some of these other champions, such as their Misfortune, and oddly enough, the Zoe.
So now the final pick of Perp and Black for this first ban phase, or for this first pick and ban phase, it is going to be the Maokai yet again. And we saw that he was a pretty tanky boy. It was hard to deal with him, but Mordekaiser's got a lot of damage over time, percent health. Maybe that should do something to quell Maokai.
Yeah, especially with a little more of a hyper carry that Jinx is rather than the Ashe, especially for an Ashe that was going for more of a try the full CDR build where you max out your volley first in order so you have that option. I don't know if you max that out normally. I don't play Ashe, but where you look for more so of a lot of burst damage thanks to the Triforce provides, and how often you can get your volley off. Jinx a lot more of a better hyper carry. First ban being the Kassadin now. Let's see what the GSM bans next.
Looks like they are taking their time on this ban phase here. They are going to take away Jarvan the Fourth. They don't want another early game jungler like how the Wukong was able to dominate the early game against the late game Gragas pick.
Yeah, and Jarvan kind of fits the bill as well for the Wukong, an early game good skirmisher. So, and then Diana being the next pick out. So really aiming towards limiting Kingshamer's options for what he can go for. Looking to limit the amount of dive they have on their team thanks to because they have a Aphelios on the side of Purple and Black, they don't want to have too much dive potential right into the Aphelios so that he can make sure they do his damage.
But this Mordekaiser top lane is going to open up a lot of options for Kingshamer's pick. Mordekaiser definitely is an AP carry, so Kingshamer could either opt for AD or AP, or even something a little more utility-focused in this mid lane. Whereas last game, the Graves was a little bit suspect just because it meant that the three main damage threats on the side of GSM were all AD.
Yep, and the Trundle's going to be picked out here. Pretty strong dual potential still in the early game, and even in the late game, he can probably fight off Mordekaiser pretty well into his in his own death realm. So a really solid pick here.
Yeah, Trundle does have that built-in dueling with the Subjugate and the Chomp, but that should be good at fighting Mordekaiser, assuming Mordekaiser ults first. If Trundle ults someone else and Mordekaiser is the one to pull them into the Death Realm, it might go differently, but the Karthus is actually going to be locked and handed over to the shiny Bidoof here. Meanwhile, perhaps Mordekaiser mid set top? Or set mid?
It is possible we see a Karthus mid lane in the set jungle as well. Or the more, we have three very flexible picks because they did just make Mordekaiser, they did buff Mordekaiser for low elo junglers to be taken into jungle. He doesn't have the best clear, but he has a clear nonetheless. More likely going to see in the top lane. And right now, let's see if we're going to see Karthus jungle. Yep. And then the set in the mid lane.
Yeah, the one thing I am interested in is this Cassiopeia. Oh, I was going to say, it does very well into set because it is all DPS. You can burn it down, and Cassiopeia's innate mobility does mean that it is a lot easier to dodge away from things like the Haymaker. However, Mordekaiser has a lot of power with just staying right on top, using the ultimate, grasp, and making sure that Cassiopeia can't get away. But it does look like the two between General Vici and Kingshamer are just going to swap them back and forth and try and psych out the other team. It is certainly a Karthus jungle, however.
Now watch, they're going to switch it over last second, and they're not going to see it coming.
Duckster is just crazy, switching his runes back and forth, hoping that he can figure out whether it's Mordekaiser or set mid. But it does look like Mordekaiser top, set mid.
Yep, switching between, do I need R runes, do I runes? But yep, we do have it all locked in now, and we have a good 3 minutes to talk while waiting for the spectators to lay alongside the loading screen. So let's just go ahead and speak about these matchups, starting with the top lane, Mordekaiser versus Maokai.
Yeah, so Mordekaiser versus Maokai, I touched on this a little bit, but Mordekaiser wanting to be right up in Maokai's face, whereas Kled does a little bit more kind of catch and run, or catch and release rather. Mordekaiser just doesn't suffer as much from Maokai being able to dodge away from things with his twisting advance. Mordekaiser can just pop his passive and use his shield, and then just kind of outlast Maokai, especially after he gets that Liandry's Torment, and I assume he will be picking up a Morellonomicon pretty early in this game just to deal with all of the healing. Maokai, Trundle, Cassiopeia, and Aphelios, all four of them have a lot of built-in healing.
Yeah, he does have the option. It is very non-meta to do, but he does have the option if he wants to pick up a Bramble Vest, which is a lot cheaper and a lot faster to get item if you really need that early Grievous Wounds. But I suspect that we won't really see that happening. We're going to just go for, like you said, the Liandry's into a Morelos, and then eventually the Rallies, so then he can be able to duel these ADCs and Cassiopeia, who can kite them out quite well.
So let's skip over the jungle just because I think it's more important to deal with the solo lanes first. Set versus Cassiopeia. What are your thoughts?
So, like I said, this is one of the picks that we've seen a little more often. Faker takes it a lot himself, because of how good wave player that set actually has. Because he can just use his Faceburger alongside of his Haymaker, not necessarily using his Haymaker for lane trades, but if he can use it just for for the wave clear, it does quite a bit well, and he has pretty decent wave clear because of that. And then, not to mention that Cassiopeia, though, has a lot of good range damage. She is very strong against people who is within her range because of if she can land that Nazis Blast, which gives her a little bit of movement speed too to cut away from the set, alongside of using Twin Serpents to heal a bunch. So it is going to be a pretty interesting matchup to see how well Kingshamer can fare against how the mobility he faces against a Cassiopeia who has a lot of movement speed thanks to her Serpentine's Grace.
So now that we have touched on both solo lanes, I would like to address the jungle. Trundle into Karthus should be a very good matchup for the Trundle early game. Basically, Trundle wants to just counter jungle and possibly even solo kill Karthus in the early game when Karthus is at his weakest point and Trundle is so good at dueling. And I think it will be up to the mid and top laners of GSM to try and keep that from happening. So let's swap over to the game real quick, and I forgot to change the scores to reflect the fact that they switched sides. But
yeah, I do agree with you with a lot of those points. Karthus being very weak in early games, so Trundle wants to try to make sure that he keeps him down and maybe have his solar laners push out so he has priority over it.
And if Karthus can, if Karthus can survive the early game and get to this level 6, I think that is when he can really start to snowball and try and take over the game here as the AP carry for GSM, especially if the bot lane of GSM with the Leona Jinx gets some engages, gets some good trades, and gets the bot lane of Perp and Black low enough that Karthus can use that Requiem and pick up kills and Dark Harvest stacks in order to scale better and faster into the late game. So it might be a long load-in time again like last game, but we will get there eventually.
Yep. We actually, as you said that, we actually reached to 100%. So hopefully we'll be able to load in just a bit quicker than before. And while we're waiting, though, we can go ahead and talk about this bot lane. Because of the GSM side having a Karthus in the jungle, a very strong scaling jungler, but not really early game focused. So that means Real Torchic and Catalyst are kind of off by themselves, really just relying on if Kingshamer will roam down and help them out. in order to get a little bit of this priority. The Catalyst does help a bit with being a Leona, so really strong engage, but Lorem can really easily push off Catalyst thanks to the Tornado blocking or really just stopping the Zenith Blade.
So, now we are finally into game. It's GSM versus Perp and Black. GSM unexpectedly having to battle back from a 0-1 deficit here in this best of 3. So would you like to introduce our blue side?
All right, on blue side, almost the same roster. We have GSM, General Vici in the top side, Shiny Bidoof playing, General Vici in the top side playing Mordekaiser. We have a little bit of a 5-man engage onto Kyler G. That looks like he might be caught out.
Unfortunately, there is no hard lockdown here for GSM. They are just going to zone away the Maokai. Shiny Bidoof spares a little bit of mana on those Skittles, and it looks like they will be invading and taking this red buff for themselves. But please, continue.
Yep, and continuing on, we saw those Skittles popped by the Shiny Bidoof playing Karthus in the jungle. Looks like he might be aiming to maybe steal the buff, but no, it looks like he's going to opt to not to. And go ahead and just do his own blue. Or maybe just fight into the red side. Huh, interesting. We have King Chamber in the mid lane playing Set, Rito Torched It, and Catalyst playing Jinx in the bot lane.
Yeah, and meanwhile, on the red side, having invaded the red buff, but actually backing off before GSM could get there, is Perp and Black. Kyler G in the top lane on, once again, Maokai. Mediocre Hats in the jungle on Trundle this time. Duckster in the mid lane on Cassiopeia, and Arc Heights and Dalarum in the bot lane on Aphelios and Janna.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see a more Enchantress but disengaged support on the side of Purple and Black, mainly to counteract the Catalyst in order to engage, and also having the Trundle for the later parts of the game in order to stop him from engaging onto their carries as easily.
But now General Vici does get a good early trade-off on Kyler G. Popping that Mordekaiser passive does mean that all of that AoE damage, AoE DOTs around him. He's going to pull Kyler G back, get some damage off, and again, pops his passive. The Conqueror is ticking, and Kyler G going to lose out on yet another trade. Meanwhile, a little bit of a fight here. Duckster going to take 150 true damage from the Haymaker here at level 2. And Rito Torchic and Catalyst again pushing up. So it looks like GSM has really found their footing here in the first minutes of this game, and they're just saying, no, we're not going down without a fight.
Yeah, this is the top tier team that we have declared. Playing a little differently to their win condition, being a little bit more of the late game, as opposed to what we think is our top tier, being that Return to Millstates with their Haley Kyoko and Woohoojin combo, but they're not in this game. Real Torch Chicken Catalyst still really strong, playing this early game really well right now, looking to exude that presence and show off that they have this late game power, that their Purple and Black kind of has a timer that they kind of have to fight against.
And even now, I mean, the ferocity and the aggression that GSM are fighting with here is really another statement of them, that they're saying, okay, well, we're going to take Karthus and Jinx and Mordekaiser, all of these late game fighters, and we're going to say, okay, we're still going to fight you early, and we're going to win some of these trades. And hopefully for GSM, they can keep the momentum rolling, battle back from that pretty hard and frankly unexpected loss, and get back into this game and try and bring it to 3.
Yeah, looks like General Vici and Kyler G still not doing too much. Small skirmishes. Kyler G's wave is slow pushing, which means they'll want to look for a kill onto General Vici to push in all these minions underneath his tower and make him move so much, and that's exactly what's happening.
Now Mediocre Hats is here. General Vici is going to only pull back one member. He has the flash, and Mediocre Hats is going to flash onto him, pick up that first blood. Great move there by KSU's jungler, thanks to the fact that they knew that Shiny Bidoof was bot lane, because his bot lane rotated to help him.
Yep. And really well played by Kyler G there too, knowing that he should slow push his lane and makes it so that Genovich kind of has to walk up a little bit. He thought he had the opportunity to set up a freeze underneath his tower, but being that it's so far pushed up means that he has to walk up for these minions, and makes it just that much more vulnerable for a gank and lose out on a large amount of minions to force out the B.
So now Shiny Bidoof is here, but he's not going to be able to find anything. Meanwhile, his opponent, Mediocre Hats, has an extra 400 gold in his pocket. And First Blood... However, First Blood does mean that his team will only be even in gold rather than ahead, thanks to these CS leads, these little marginal CS leads that we have seen in all of the lanes for GSM.
Yeah, they do an excellent job at farming, 5 CS in the bot lane, but in this early game, these small little leads can definitely make a difference. Once they do get this bag, a couple minions can be a difference whether you pick up a BF sword or a pickaxe. So very important here.
And it's something that was actually talked about here on the LCS desk. Or talked about on the LCS desk today during the tiebreakers. Bot lane difference was such an important part of these tiebreaker games. They were discussing how back timers work. So most ADCs just want to go back when they get enough gold for their first BF sword and then come back up in time for Dragon. So I think the metric was if you're at about 5 minutes and 30 seconds and you can go back and buy your BF sword before the other guy can, you have won this early lane here. You've won the first 5 minutes, but Duckster now is going to miss his Petrifying Gaze, but Kingshamer does get knocked up by the pillar. However, nothing is going to progress off of that. Now, the engage by Catalyst onto Dalaran. He takes a lot of damage, but the Ignite is actually ticking on Dalaran. And Archites is going to zone him off. So an Ignite traded by GSM, and they're not going to pick up anything onto the bot lane of Purple Black.
Yep, we saw in the mid lane, Kingshamer was also dueling, pulling Mediocre Hats in and saying that he's ready to duel 2v1.
Oh, and a lot of damage coming out onto the bot lane of GSM. Catalyst takes some damage as Rito Torchic realizes he has no mana and he cannot continue to spam rockets on the enemy team. So now, with this Cloud Drake available and Mediocre Hats on this side of the map, Rito Torchic might be in trouble as Archites moves forward, takes a lot of damage off of that Jinx. And now General Vici has Kyler G in the Death Realm. Shiny Bidoof is here, and hopefully they can find something for the jungler of GSM, but they are not. The Requiem is available, but at low enough mana that he won't be able to cast it.
And since they saw that the Shiny Bidoof is in the top lane, it looks like Mediocre Hat is going to be able to freely take that first dragon, Cloud Dragon, a very important dragon, for its 10% CDR on your ultimates.
And this is a huge misstep by GSM. They're going to lose the dragon. They're not going to have anything to show for it. And at the end of the day, Rito Torchic only has a 9 CS lead over Archites. That's not going to be enough to find really anything.
Yes, both of them have enough money in order to back whiff for a BF sword we saw already, and looks like he's also have enough money to pick up the pickaxe, but right now in a little skirmish in the mid lane. Ooh.
Does a lot of damage to Duckster, but Kingshamer just doesn't have the sticking power on Cassiopeia, as we discussed before. This is... Oh!
Ooh.
Just as we say that, he flashes forward, but the flash is returned by Duckster, and no Facebreaker is going to break Duckster's face today.
Today, but he does have the Showstopper available if he looks for an even harder engage. Probably not, though, because Duckster does have his Petrifying Gaze up, and if he uses the Showstopper, it's just an easy way to look straight at Cassiopeia, where she can easily stun you.
So now Kingshamer has finished his phage, so he has a little bit more mobility. He will be trying to dance around Duckster a little bit better, avoid getting hit by those noxious blasts. And hopefully for Kingshamer, this lane goes well, because already it seems like across the map, although GSM is doing fine in lane, they're not doing so great on the objective side.
Yeah, but that is to be expected thanks to having a Karsus in the jungle. You can't really contest a lot of these objectives. You also have to pick up what you can.
Ooh, the Petrifying Gaze is actually going to get Kingshamer. However, he does kill Duckster. He is going to go down under turret as Mediocre Hats picks up the return kill. And it is actually more gold inserted into Purple and Black's banks than GSM's, thanks to the assist.
Yep, having a little bit extra gold thanks to the assist is gonna be pretty nice.
Oh, but Dalaran is picked now. The Monsoon is channeled, but it's going to be cut down by the Ignite, and now Archeye's on the run. Shiny Bidoof is here, and they are going to find the kill. Catalyst picks that one up. It's a 2-0, and now GSM can push for these turret plates.
Yep, getting a kill on your Jinx is very nice. Getting a kill on your Leona is still pretty good. It's not a double kill as we saw in the last game, but I mean, one of those kills. Ooh, it's still not over yet, though.
And the turret dive is just immaculate. Catalyst tanks up the whole thing, and it is going to secure GSM not only 3 kills here in the spot lane, but also 2 turret plates. And they're going to pull ahead by 2,000 gold, even as Purp and Black picks up the Rift Herald.
Yep, sharing the love, getting a kill per person that was there.
And that's a good way to get both of your late game carries ahead, and even to help Leona get a little bit tankier here. Now, General Vici is going to pull Mediocre Hats back into the Death Realm. He's going to go very low. Mediocre Hats might actually go down, but the Subjugate is popped. General Vici, one more donk will do it. He's going to take the kill. He's going to pop the W as well, and Kyler G cannot find the kill thanks to the Conqueror stacking up too much. It's a 1-0, and General Vici is going to save his turret.
Yep, being able to use the Mordekaiser's passive in order to get a very good 1v1 out.
And oh no, Kinkshamer might be in trouble. The Petrifying Gaze used just for the slow, but Duckster gonna pick up a solo kill. Kinkshamer stayed too long for that turret plate.
Yeah, looks like Set had approached Duckster just a little too closely, and he found out who was beating who in that fight.
God damn it.
I've been watching a lot of JoJo recently because my friend wants me to try to get into it, so I've been watching that. I just finished part 3 where I just finished part 3, so yeah, JoJo references all around.
So Mediocre Hats is here in this bot lane, and Archeye's does take some damage, but trades back just as well as he's getting from Rito Torchic. Purp and Black is going to pick up another turret plate here, 2 in total, and they're going to even it up with the bot lane of GSM. However, GSM still about 2,000 gold ahead, possibly creeping back a little bit as Kyler G picks up a 4th turret plate in the top lane.
Yeah, these turret plates are helping out definitely in these little CS deficits, especially the jungle right here. Oh, Inkbot lane engage.
Yeah, and Archeye's actually does get help from Dalaran. Dalaran is going to zone away using the Hurricane. Ultimate comes out, Archeye's doesn't take enough damage, and Rito Torchic now, he's gonna find one more crit might do it, and Archeye's goes down! Rito Torchic with the zap for the snipe, and Shiny Bidoof now fighting Mediocre Hats. Kinkshamer chasing down Duckster, but that is going to be the Petrifying Gaze. The Haymaker is not available, and now Catalyst might have found himself too deep. Shiny Bidoof is here, but he's low health. Mediocre Hat's now running, however, as Catalyst picking up the kill. Now Rito Torchic is excited. Can he find something? Rito Torchic taking so much damage, he's going to go down, and now Catalyst and Bidoof on the run. Dalaran, I don't think he's going to be able to find anything, but he flashes forward, gets the slow. Shiny Bidoof on top of Dalaran. He's out of mana, but once he's dead, that won't matter. He's going to get some damage. More. Dalaran is dead, and Duckster is on a killing spree, however. He has the Requiem, but it is not going to be able to be used. He goes down out of his passive before he can. Now, Catalyst may have overstayed because Archeye's is here, and this fight will never seem to end, but it finally does.
I mean, if they can keep Duckster, oh no, he's going to pick up the fruits in order to heal right back up, and then starts using the Twin Serpents onto this dragon to secure his health. But he's right on top of that Scuttle, so he is getting kind of low. The
Requiem doesn't do enough damage, and it is going to be a second dragon picked up here for KSU. Now, Duckster, or Kinkshamer, in the middle of it, he's going to find Archeye's, and it's going to be General Vici teleporting down. Can Kinkshamer find something? He does not have the Facebreaker. He's going to back off from Duckster. General Vici's here. He has the Death Realm. Is he going to issue it? He moves forward, pulls back, does not get the Cassiopeia, and that's going to be the flash from Kinkshamer, but General Vici goes down. No, he does not! The shutdown comes in from Jinx. Rito Torchic again is excited, and General Vici lives on a sliver of health. It's Dalarum knocking up Catalyst, stopping the engage. Kyler G is here to zone away, and GSM, they only trade 1-for-1, committing a teleport and multiple flashes.
Yeah, and they did end up losing out on that dragon, unfortunately, so they are losing a little bit in the objective game in that sense, but they're going to be able to pick up the first tower in order to make up for it.
And now because Rito Torchic is excited, he can start chasing down, but General Vici, I think, is too low to continue this fight. So GSM actually does win that overall, sans the dragon. They find the first turret of the game, and they find even kills.
Yeah, being able to even it out right there is definitely a benefit. Evening out the trading the dragon for the tower is going to help out, and still get it because there are such a strong scaling team. This is actually pretty good overall because of the evening out.
So now it's about 3,000 gold in favor of GSM. As you said, great for the scaling team, and Jinx and Shiny Bidoof are the ones that are fed. 2-1 and 3 and 3-1 and 4 here for the Karthus and the Jinx, respectively. This is really what GSM needs if they want to bring this into the late game and just take over once their carries hit their power spikes. So Rito Torchic and Catalyst are pushing up onto this outer turret. They are not going to be able to find it, but Kyler G engaging. Catalyst is tanking the turret. He's knocked up so many times he's forced to flash. A flash committed, and now Catalyst is even lower. Kyler G going to try and find the re-engage. Rito Torchic chasing down Dalarum, but Catalyst isn't so much trouble. The heal is committed. Catalyst on the run. Kyler G is going to be able to find it. No, he cannot. The teleport comes in from Duckster, but Rito Torchic has already picked up a kill. Kingshamer is here. They're going to get on top of Duckster. He takes so much damage. Rito Torchic barely living. Kingshamer with the kill. Now Shiny Bidoof in the middle of the fight. He does not have the Requiem. Mediocre Hats is on the run, and Kingshamer is trying to find him. He does not have the Showstopper. Catalyst takes so much damage, and that's going to be the shutdown. Kyler G picks that one up. Now Kingshamer going to Haymaker back. Archites takes so much damage, and Kingshamer does not find a kill. A shutdown for Archites, and KSU wins again. They get a 3-for-2, but now General Vici pushing the inner turret in the bot lane is going to even this up for his team. He's finally going to donk it down. But now the Rift Herald is falling in favor of Perp and Black. Mediocre Hats has capitalized on the fact that the jungler is dead for GSM. Archites as well is going to pick up this outer turret, even up that turret trade, and GSM just under 3,000 gold in the lead. This was a small victory for Perp and Black, but it's one that they need in order to stay in this game.
Yeah, picking up all of that is going to help out a bunch. Sorry, I had a little bit of emergency going on right now. My family was going to... they're doing a little bit of some loud activities. My sister's doing a meeting right now, and I'm doing shoutcasting. So it's a little inconvenient timing for planning. Not really good. But regardless, right back to the game. So...
it's a good old mute your mic and just, Mom, shut up, I'm working. But yeah, the team fight win for Perp and Black does bring them back a little bit by about 500 gold, and it's gonna stop GSM's advance here. However, the dragon is coming up in 45 seconds, and this one GSM doesn't want to give up. Infernal Drakes are so good for these hyper carries, all of them on both sides.
Yep, and let's see, we do have the Rift Herald, as you mentioned earlier, on the side of Purple and Black. Sorry, I'm trying to get myself back into this game, remember all these names. But yeah, Purple and Black having the Rift Herald means that they have the option to exert a lot of pressure while this dragon is coming up right now. And Rito Torchic is doing a lot of damage with how strong of a lead. Solar Flare coming out, not going fine.
Dalarum takes about half his health, however, and Archites is actually forced to use his heal, but that is Duckster and Mediocre Hats dropping the Rift Herald. They're going to take down this outer mid turret. It's going to go down as the Rift Herald starts to charge, but the Dragon goes over to GSM. It's 2-1 in Dragons now, but The Rift Herald didn't even charge the first time. They're going to find the charge, but Catalyst is going to force the flash of Duckster, but that's a two-man Petrifying Gaze. That's huge, and now Duckster going to go low, but that's finally going to be the pickup. Shiny Bidoof takes down Duckster, and that's going to be Mediocre Hats falling as well. However, General Vici is dead. Rito Torchic moving forward. He cannot find it. Archites goes down, and now Rito Torchic is under the turret. He cannot find the rest of them. Dalaran lives. It's a 3-for-1 for GSM, and they don't even lose their inner turret.
Yeah, charge did go off, and Requiem's coming out.
Ooh.
The shield just comes up in time in order to block out the Requiem, and dodging the zap in order to make sure that he doesn't go down.
And now Kyler G gets pulled back by the Facebreaker. He's not going to be caught by the traps, but a inner turret is going to go over to GSM. They are now 4K in the lead, and they've managed to continue pushing this where Perp and Black wanted to stop them in that last fight.
And now we're seeing a little more of the typical GSM thing, where they are at their more late game point of the game, so they're doing an excellent job at doing tons of damage. They scaled up. We have the Jinx at her 2 items, the Infinity Edge and the Runeans, alongside the Berserker Greaves, so she's going to be able to chase anyone down when she gets excited from either taking objectives, or taking a tower, or taking 1 kill. She'll be able to be ready to turn around and get going with a fight.
Yeah, these crit rockets can really mess up a team fight for Purple and Black as long as Rito Torchic can free fire. Duckster almost managed to take him down in the last one, but after that Cassiopeia fell, there was really nothing that Purple and Black could do, and Rito Torchic just got to free fire on the enemy team, and that was what ended up netting them the win. So now, with the Baron on the map and potentially a Baron take for either team, since they have so much strong DPS here, if they can find a pick, and that pick might be Dalaran, he's gonna go down. Rito Torchic on a killing spree, 5-1 here.
Yeah, like I said earlier, she is really strong. Rito Torchic having now the Zeal in order to up the crit chance even more. We have about 70% crit chance. Rito Torchic is going to do a lot of damage and be able to burn down this Baron nice and easily alongside of Callus and Shiny Vito. Callus is tanking up, but we do see the jungler on the side of Purple and Black looking to stop him, and the TP coming out from Kyler G.
However, this was a 3-man Baron, and now General Vici jumps in, finds Archites. He's going to get him so low, he takes him down in the Death Realm. Now, Duckster is the target of Rito Torchic. He's going to find the kill there. It's going to be Kyler G falling next, and Mediocre Hats nowhere to be seen. Kyler G goes down with the rocket. Super Mega Death takes him down, and it is GSM winning the fight, winning the Baron, and being able to push this late game lead that they always look for.
Yep, but we do have Mediocre Hats not giving up. He is gonna let them have a little bit of the dragon, but he's gonna try to push for that mid lane. But the Mordekaiser had returned in order to stop him from taking that inner tower.
Mediocre Hats will not be falling to the Requiem. Shiny Bidoof pops out a little bit early, but nevertheless, GSM now 8,000 gold in the lead, and they are sitting pretty as they want to push this Baron for some turrets.
Yeah, the Morelos, I just can't speak. Morelos is a pretty odd pick for a just for him to complete. Leaving Orb does make sense for the extra penetration, but I suppose the Morlemonomicon does help out in stopping all this healing that Dusker and Kyler G is doing. So, but I would have liked to see him to opt in for just more straight up damage in order to burst down Dalaran and Archites just a little bit better.
Yeah, I think the Grievous Wounds are definitely necessary for someone on GSM, and with Rito Torchic like being able to finish his 3rd item, I don't think Rito Torchic should be the one to get it. And it's kind of the least negative situation that you're in, because General Vici has been trying to solo pick people. He took out Archites in that last team fight, which was part of the reason that went so smoothly for GSM. Shiny Bidoof, on the other hand, managed to get into the middle of the fight, so the Morellonomicon did do a lot of work in getting that Grievous Wound passive on all of the members that it needed to be on.
I suppose so. You do have a point there because of how their power spikes and how they're depending where their power lies.
And a great pick on Mediocre Hats it does mean that GSM is going to secure this second Infernal Drake. It means that Rito Torchic is going to get that much stronger, and it means that Shiny Bidoof is making up for a little bit of that lost damage that you're talking about here. And it now with the Baron up for another, or with the Baron buff on for another minute, Rito Torchic and GSM are going to push into the mid lane here.
Yeah, we have Archetypes right now having the Gravitum alongside of his Calibrum combo, which is good for picks, but not exactly what you need right now. You're looking for more of a wave clear with the Infernum, and then pair it with any sort of gun you have.
And that suboptimal gun pairing is going to be the downfall here. They can't clear well enough, even with all of this, and so now the ultimate used by Kyler G at a zoning attempt, but now he engages. It's going to be him going on top of Catalyst, and now damage on Dalaran, and General Vici going to try and find the solo kill here. Shut down by Mediocre Hats onto Shiny Bidoof, but that is going to be the ultimate coming through. He gets a double kill, gets the support, gets the mid laner. Kyler G going to fall. Now the flash forward by Rito Torchic. He's going to find Arc Heights, and GSM looks like they're back in form. They're going to take Game 2 in a spectacular fashion, and they're going to try and push it for Game 3 and secure their so far undefeated second half of the split. Ultimate's coming out by Kink Shamer. He's going to go down, but GSM is just showing off at this point, and they're going to take it to Game 3.
Yep, Rito Torch again, that plus 50. Well played there. This is more of the GSM late game we were looking for rather than the more odd picks they had earlier. Kind of fell in line with what they were looking for, if that late game power, but not exactly the powerhouse that GSM usually exudes. And then they really showed Purple and Black what they were made of in this game, I should say.
GSM limit testing Game 1, just seeing how much they could get away with. They realized that they couldn't get away with all that much, so they went back to their comfort picks, and as you said, they just showed up, and they were back in form as they took down Purple and Black, and they're going to force a Game 3. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to see if GSM can continue their undefeated season, or if Purple and Black can be the giant slayers that they need to in order to stay alive here in Diamond Shadow Isle. So don't go anywhere.
Bye-bye.
right, and we are back for Game 3 here between GSM and Perp and Black.
Hello, hello. So we do have GSM right back onto the blue side while we have purple and black on the red side once again. First ban, always respecting the thresh that DeLorean can bring out. And I imagine we're going to see another Vladimir ban as well.
Yeah, a lot. Wow, it's actually the Jinx ban early this time. I think they banned it third pick or second pick last game, or first game. Didn't ban it last game. That was the one that Perp and Black lost. So they are respecting Rito Torchic's power.
Yeah, maybe going to leave up the Zoe this time, but who knows. And next pick ban coming out is going to be the Syndra from Dusker or Arc Heights. Not sure if either of them really play Syndra in the bot lane or in mid lane.
Again, the Misfortune, another Rito Torchic ban. That one's been banned all 3 games. So let's see if the Wukong is the third ban yet again for GSM. They banned it game 2 after they lost to a Fed Wukong game 1. Alright, there it is.
Gotta watch out. Radial Balance team does not know what they're doing exactly. Cool design, but maybe a little too strong in some numbers.
And the Vladimir are going to round it out for the third ban of Perp and Black. So let's see what General Vici picks up. If it's going to be another top laner like the Mordekaiser we saw locked, or if they picked Leona last time, first pick, and it's going to be another Leona.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine this is a pretty strong comfort pick that Callus had, as well as Rito Torchic just used to playing with a Leona rather than against one.
The Zoe now picked up for Duckster. They want to keep that away from Kinkshamer, and Duckster did fairly well on it, game 1. So Perp and Black gonna run it back, and now their second pick here of the draft phase. We'll have to see what it is, because there is a lot still on the table, but it's a Blitzcrank.
Oh, Blitzcrank, pretty interesting. Not gonna have to see some of the difficulties that that a Nautilus faced in the last game, but not gonna have that disengage that Janna's had as with against the Leona at least. So let's see what Shiny Bidu picks up right here. Taking a little bit of time, talking out with his team, seeing what is going to be the optimal pick, and it's going to be Caston for Kinkshamer.
That was banned last game in the second rotation, so the Cassidon, an absolute late game powerhouse. He's going to be scaling super hard, so we'll have to see what kind of supporting lanes we'll be seeing with this Cassidon. Possibly a strong top laner early game, like maybe a Renekton, or the Hecarim jungle, also a very good pick for early game pressure.
Yep, this strong horse right here is going to be able to zoom on in throughout each of the lanes, seeing that he has the charge. I don't remember the full name of it, but the Hecarim E the charge in order to chase down in these lanes. Probably going to pick up maybe Conqueror is the usual thing. Predator is also not bad, and we're going to have Kaisa as the ADC. A pretty safe pick considering, or I'd say a pretty safe pick considering all this dive they have onto GSM side. Using the Kaisa ultimate in order to reposition yourself is very useful.
This will start to twist the thumb screws, though, on Perp and Black. They need to take AD in the top and possibly the jungle, because Kaisa is just so much mixed damage. She really does end up erring on the side of an AP, considered an AP champion just because of all the damage that her passive does. It's all magic. So they're gonna ban away the Maokai here. GSM is gonna ban away the Maokai, the Mordekaiser as well, banned by Perp and Black. And Set is going to round it out. They don't want General Vici to get his hands on that, whereas Kinkshamer played it last game.
Who knows? Maybe we'll see a cast in top lane, but no longer will we see it because the Set is already banned. So let's see what the last ban for this game will be. And they decided they don't want to see no tank Orns in here.
Yeah, right now, what GSM doesn't have is tank shredding. Cassidon is great at jumping on top of a Zoe or a Kaisa, Hecarim as well. Between the onslaught of shadows and the devastating charge, you should be able to gank Zoes, kill Kaisas in the later game. But with the Jinx off the table, it will be a little bit harder for GSM to find a tank shredder. Meanwhile, looks like Vi will be the jungler for Perp and Black, and that's that AD that we said that they needed.
Yeah, a little bit of tank shredding on their side in case the General Vici is going to pick something like that. But we might be seeing a fasting Senna over here on the side of GSM. They are hovering that Senna pick. Pretty useful. Especially since they don't really have too much dive on the side of Purple Black right now. They only have the Vi that can really dive onto the Senna, and they're going to go ahead and lock that in.
And I am a little bit concerned by the Senna just because it's into a Blitzcrank, and while Senna is very good at poking these melee supports, and Kaisa, who's a little bit shorter ranged for an ADC, especially compared to Senna's massive range, Rito Torchic should have a fairly easy time here poking, but if he gets engaged on by Blitzcrank and gets hit by that pull, he might just be completely dead, and the signature General Vici pick, Yorick, is going to round out the draft for GSM here.
And we have a hovered Yumi, so potentially we're just thinking about what they're going to go ahead and pick, because I'd imagine the Blitzcrank is going to go into bot lane, or we're going to see something interesting. Nope, it's going to be just a regular draft. They're going to take this game very seriously against GSM. These are the head dogs of this bracket, so they're going to go ahead and pick up the Urgot, which has seen a resurgence in the meta, not having too many changes done to him. I believe a slow was increased by 10% on his corrosive shot, but not too much in terms of numbers, I believe, in his other parts of his kit.
Yeah, most everything that contributed to the Urgot resurgence is basically just item changes. The Death Stance changes were a huge one for him, and that's just, I mean, adding all of that resistance, all of the bonus resistances from the Aegis of the Legion will mean that Urgot is going to see a resurgence as that kind of juggernaut style top laner. So as we get into the spectator delay, let's do it again. Top to bot, each lane matchup.
Well, we've seen General Vici's signature York top lane pick a bunch of times. He does an excellent job. In the early game, he has maybe a little bit of trouble against these more skirmishes, but he does always find himself really strong once he starts picking up his items, and he's never too far behind away from his laner whenever that does happen. While on the other side, we have Kyler G picking up the Urgot, which has seen a resurgence in the meta, but I don't believe Kyler G is too familiar with Urgot, playing Urgot himself. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see if General Vici's comfort pick can stand up to Urgot's resurgence in the meta.
Yeah, luckily for General Vici here, Urgot doesn't necessarily... He trades fairly well, but he doesn't fight super well because a lot of his damage is shoved into those shotgun knees, which have a super long cooldown early game. So Yorick won't be taking all that much damage from that passive, especially when he's already a sort of naturally tankier melee top laner. So we'll have to see whether Yorick and his Maiden of the Mist can outpush Urgot and the shotgun knees. So the jungle, Hecarim versus Vi, it's an interesting one, not one that you see all that much anymore.
Yeah, both of them are really strong early game junglers, but Vi always having that tank shredder, thanks to her denting blows, and then Hecarim with the strong burst and gank potential he has. It'll be interesting to see how well either side does and see how active they'll be in each lane.
And now the mid lane, Kassadin versus Zoe. Kassadin, of course, is that unstoppable late game powerhouse, but his early laning phase against Zoe doesn't go super well, mostly because he is, of course, a melee champion. It is going to make it a lot easier for Zoe to try and hit those Sleepy Trouble Bubbles and then combo in the Paddle Stars to chip away at Kassadin's health, even through that magic shield.
Yeah, very true. He does have some abilities to take a lot less magic damage, but Zoe does have the Sleepy Trouble Bubble to do true damage. And then to round it all off, it is around 30 seconds left on this spectator's delay, but we also have loading screens. How about this bot lane?
Yeah, I am interested to see if this will be a fasting Senna. Obviously, it is something that is fairly meta. We see it a lot, but it's generally not like a Leona that's doing it. It's the two that normally do it. It's Tom Kench and man, I'm blanking. Tom Kench. Let's just say it's just Tom Kench, because he just scales so well. Since he had that stint as a top laner, he just scales really well with these full tank items rather than the support tank items.
Yeah, but not to say that Kai'Sa's completely out of it. She does have some abilities. They recently gave her buffs to give her more of a directional approach, where if she has reached the AP points for her W, it gives whenever you hit a champion, it gives you a 70% refund on the cooldown, which means you can just start spamming that in a team fight really well and getting a ton of stacks of your plasma onto people, as opposed to the AD buff of it, where you get 12 missiles now, as opposed to the regular 8. I want to say, I can't exactly remember the numbers, but still, those are pretty good buffs overall. And then having the Leona and Blitzcrank, very aggressive bot lane as we normally see, but Blitzcrank is a pretty strong pick against the Senna, considering that he has that range increased on his Q way back then.
Yeah, and Senna just has no mobility, so this really is up to Rito Torchic to try and out-juke Dalaran on the Blitzcrank, and of course Dalaran is trying to weave these like huge hooks in between minions, trying to find ways that Rito Torchic won't be expecting, or this lane may not go so hot for a kill lane like a Blitzcrank lane. So after a couple of seconds more loading in, we will be into game here. GSM versus Perp and Black, game 3. And we'll have to see who walks away with the win here.
Yep, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and do introductions once more. We have Genovici in the top lane playing Yorick, Shiny Bidoof playing that Hecarim in the jungle, King Shamer 102 playing Kassadin in the mid lane. Pause screen coming right up, and as it paused, let's go ahead and introduce Rito Torchic and Catalyst playing the Senna and the Leona in the bot lane.
Yeah, so the pause did come back negative. It was probably just a short connection issue as they loaded in. Meanwhile, on the red side, we've got Perp and Black, Kyler G in the top lane on got Mediocre Hats in the jungle on Vi, Duckster in the mid lane on Zoe, and our bot lane, Archites and Dalaran, looking for an invade on the Kai'Sa Blitzcrank. They are spam pinging each other for some reason.
Maybe going in a little too fast for it. It is invade, but they're not going to be finding anything. They are protected by that one ward right over there, but they're not. And the ward that's right near the red buff, and it looks like everyone's just going to back off, not before spam pinging a little bit more as on their way out.
So GSM taking the smart move, going down to the bot lane. Maybe they're just doing this to piss us off. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? They did say that we were terrible casters while we're waiting up for this game in that intermission screen.
They didn't necessarily say that we were terrible casters. They said the casters were terrible. We have no idea what that means.
Yeah, it could be any casters.
Any casters. They could be criticizing the LEC casters for all we know.
Yeah, who knows? But some typical early leashes coming out, really strong leashes. Want to go for the bot lane to leash your lanes because they provide such a easy leash to go on for a quicker clear.
And yeah, they're both going to move in different directions. Shiny Bidoof is going to go for his Krugs first, so we can assume that this will be a full red side clear moving into the scuttle, or he might be going for an early gank, but Dalaran does get a pull. It's on the wrong guy, though. He pulls in Catalyst, who stuns him back up.
Yeah, he does get a pretty well-timed hook, I do want to say. He waited, he saw that the minion was slow, was about to die, and went ahead and threw out the hook, and as it died, Catalyst was hooked in. So really well-timed by Dalaran, I just want to point out there.
And so we were questioning whether this would be a full fasting Senna or not. It is. Rito Torchic is going to be collecting souls and poking instead of taking minions. And now the level 2 does come out late for Archites and Dalaran, but Unfortunately for the bot lane of GSM, they are in no position to force anything at level 2. And Catalyst is going to make sure to pick up that cannon creep. That is something that every support struggles with. It's like, oh, am I going to miss it? Am I going to miss it? But Catalyst gets it.
Yep. Catalyst carry. We have seen that, first game it was high mana, and now Catalyst is back in. He got it. He got the first win in. Coincidence? Maybe.
I think not.
We'll find out.
But Catalyst is farming very well here. He's got 17 CS to Arc Heights' 11, and even though this wave is crashing, it is probably still going to just be even, which is good with a melee farmer here in the bot lane.
Yeah, definitely so. Going even against a ranged farmer is pretty feels good, man. Especially if you're like a Yasuo who scales really well, but a Leona, not to say that Leona doesn't scale well in herself.
It doesn't, it isn't Yasuo, that's for sure. Or
Yeah,
in this case, Kassadin.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but ooh.
Catalyst will pick up both of those with the Zenith Blade, but it does mean that he won't have a Zenith Blade for a couple more seconds. He is going to get the stun off, but now Vi is here. Catalyst has Flash, might have to commit it. He will, but is it too late? The Ignite's ticking, and I think he'll live.
Yeah, they do have the heal available to use in case the Ignite would tick down any further.
So now, with Catalyst having to back off, Shiny Bidoof is here to support his AD, but it is a 3v2, and now Shiny Bidoof gets pulled back. He doesn't have Flash. He's Hecarim. First Blood picked up. Dalaran with the kill.
Yep, picking up that first kill, really good on their side. Managed to win out in that early gank, and even though it is onto the support, some assist is going to go around, and that money is going to be well used.
And I mean, it is Blitzcrank, so he doesn't necessarily use that gold really well. Usually his first item is Zeke's Convergence. He just wants to abuse that short ultimate cooldown in order to get some extra damage for Arc Heights. But now the Mountain Drake is going to fall in favor of Perp and Black, thanks to the early advantage in pressure that they had from Catalyst being dead and then killing Shiny, or from Catalyst having to back off and then Shiny Bidoof dying. So now 600 gold is the lead for Perp and Black.
Yeah, but like we said last game, the late game scalar giants that GSM is nothing to scoff at. They might have a little bit of a rough early game, but as long as they can keep it under control, they'll be just fine.
And I think the metric here for, General Vici is actually going to solo kill Kyler G, and I was about to say, the metric here for how well GSM is going to do, or it does in this game, where they have Rito Torchic as, the late game scaling Senna, you have King Shamer on late game Kassadin. General Vici is the one that's kind of like, okay, well if he's not doing well, then GSM's in some trouble. But he just got a solo kill, he's 10 CS ahead, and he's forcing Kyler G's teleport. So things look good so far.
Yep, and I do want to point out the wall from York is actually a pretty good counter towards Urgot, considering that Urgot can't dash through walls. So, but on the flip side, Urgot does have his W. I believe it's called
Purge.
I can look. Yes, the Purge, in order to shoot down the wall really quickly, doing 3 attacks every second.
Ooh, Shiny Bidoof shows up for the gank against Duckster. Duckster does get ignited by the Hecarim, but he will not go down. He does burn, however, both of his summoners. So King Shamer does actually have Flash and Ultimate available. He could look for the deep dive for the solo kill, but with the bot lane missing of Perp and Black, he definitely doesn't want to try that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he... Yeah, I believe he had vision right there because of the ward right there in the river. So no gank is going to happen, and Dusker is going to make it out alive, having to burn all of his summoners though.
So now Catalyst moves in on Arc Heights. Arc Heights is going to get rooted up by Senna's W. Rito Torchic getting a little more chip damage off. He is... let's do a quick soul check when they come back down to the bot lane. Come on, directed camera.
I can go ahead and do a soul check. We have 27 souls taken. You can go ahead and try. I believe I'm just hitting all the buttons now. 4 on the key.
It's 4, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, souls check right there.
But now
having 1 upgrade.
And so Rito Torchic actually does burn his flash, doesn't want to get caught by that Blitzcrank pull. Mediocre Hats makes an appearance into the bot lane, and that is enough to burn a summoner. Now Kyler G, General Vici, duking it out yet again. The Conqueror is procced for both of them, but Kyler G is going to have to back off as the losing member of that trade.
Yeah, especially with how much damage that General Vici is doing. He did pick up the early Ninja Tabbies, so then he can negate a lot of this purge damage that comes out, especially alongside of the Shotgun Knees. I'm not sure if Shotgun Knees count towards as an auto.
They do apply on-hit effects, so I assume they're considered auto attacks, for the purposes of Ninja Tabbies at least.
Yeah, so, okay, so then just taking 10% less damage. Or is it 12? Man, I can't remember any numbers. It's 12%.
It is 12%.
So negating 12% of Kyler G's all of his damage essentially is definitely going to help out a lot for General Vici, and not needing to worry about sacrificing damage too much because his Maiden does a lot for him already.
And he already does have the Sheen. He is even in CS, but still with that solo kill, he's effectively actually 450 gold ahead of Kyler G, thanks to that extra turret plate that he picked up as he was backing. So now, Shiny Bidoof and Mediocre Hats are both level 6, and with the Dragon coming up in about 40 seconds, I'm interested to see where they path, because also the Rift Herald's available, and it will be interesting to see which direction they go in terms of buff priorities, or, objective priority.
I would say if I was on the side of GSM, I would look to go for the Rift Herald, because the enemy bot laner is actually pretty ahead, considering that Art Heights has already finished the Muramana, or is it? Yeah, Manamune, sorry, turns into Muramana, but already finishing it.
But General Vici's here in the mid lane. They are going to try and pick up Duckster. One more flash will do it. General Vici hits him with Dispade, and they are going to pick up Duckster. So now at a man disadvantage, Perp and Black have to try and salvage it, because Shiny Bidoof is here, turning his attention toward the Ocean Drake. And they are going to move on to it.
Really good play from General Vici there, rotating down from top to mid because he knew the lane was slowly pushing to his side anyways.
And he is still ahead in CS, is the important thing. He doesn't actually lose out on all that much, doesn't fall behind his laner, and he was the one who picked up the kill there. So it's not like he's coming back at a significant disadvantage.
Yep, General Vici doing an excellent job at pushing his overall team's advantage, so putting his influence in the mid lane, and thanks to that pressure he generated mid lane, his jungler was able to get the dragon rather than having to trade a Rift Herald for it.
Oh, Burrito Torchic might be caught. The Ignite comes out by Dalarum, and that's going to be the ultimate coming out from Arc Heights. The Killer Instinct is going to pick up the kill on Burrito Torchic. Now a knock-up on Catalyst. Shiny Bidoof is here, but it might be too little too late. They are going to walk away at a 1-4-0. Now, Kyler G flashes. General Vici doesn't have his, but he does have the slow. Kyler G, solo. General Vici, one more auto, but no, he gets flipped back into the turret. General Vici is going to die. Solo kill for Kyler G.
Well played there by Kyler G, baiting him in by being so low, and surprising General Vici by using the shield from the Purge, and then alongside of the charge. Or no, they moved the shield onto the charge.
Yes.
So getting the shield from the charge and baiting General Vici in means solo kill and a bounty.
So now, with a little more gold for Kyler G, he is going to be doing much better in this lane in terms of dealing with General Vici. But now, Kinkshamer, he is just still scaling. He's got his Catalyst, he's got his Tier. Once he can finish that Rod of Ages, this game will go a lot smoother for him, because then all he has to do is wait.
Just wait indeed.
Oh?
You Shiny Bidoof.
Shiny Bidoof is here. Duckster, though, is going to get away without having to burn any cooldowns. Now, Mediocre Hats goes under the turret, takes a lot of damage, but Kyler G commits the teleport to stop the re-engage. Mediocre Hats goes down to half health, and actually GSM wins out on that despite not being able to find anything early.
Yeah, because Kyler G had to sacrifice his TP in order to stop the engage, means that he's losing out on a couple of platings and minions, and he's already behind, while King Shamer's, ooh.
Just jumping on Duckster again. He actually trades even with that last Paddle Star on return. But now we have to, again, we just have to see if GSM can stay even early. It's not about winning the early game, it's about surviving the late game, and that's when Kassadin comes online. But he might be offline in a second. He is going to go very low with the Ignite, but he does not go down. Duckster as well goes super low. Both mid laners walk away.
Both the mid laners getting out with their lives, but these even trades do go in favor of Kassadin just because he is, like as you said, a strong scaling champion. He is almost at his level 11 power spike for his rank 2 ultimate, so once he gets that, he will be just that much stronger.
The gold lead is even, which again, as we've been talking about, favors GSM, but that might change as Catalyst gets ignited. He has to jump away. Now the Killer Instinct comes through by Archites. Catalyst gets the stun. He's going to be rooted up, but Archites still will manage to find the kill onto Catalyst, gets the kill. Now General Vici teleporting in. No, it's Kinkshamer rather. Archites is going to go down to Rito Torchic. Now Dalaran is going to try and knock up Kinkshamer, but he can't get away for long. Kinkshamer will find a kill, a reward for his teleport, and it's a 2-for-1 for GSM.
And using his flash in order to try to juke out Kinkshamer just a little bit, but unfortunately not going to find it.
Now, Shiny Bidoof is going to get engaged on, take a lot of damage from Mediocre Hats and Duckster. He goes over the wall, doesn't have the onslaught of shadows, and that's going to be Mediocre Hats finding the kill, uses the Vault Breaker, and Perp and Black pick something back up after the Rift Herald has fallen.
Yeah, but Kinkshamer is level 11, so this 2v2 would be in their favor.
Oh, now General Vici is here. The railgun comes out. Duckster goes low. Mediocre Hats is going to go down as well. A 2-for-0 pickup, and GSM collapses on the mid-jungle of Perp and Black.
Yep, picking up a kill for them. It looks like Kinkshamer is also going to look to try to pick up that blue buff for himself. Oh, and just be a lot stronger in lane.
The red buff won't finish it off, dude. Okay, he does actually have a blue buff from killing Mediocre Hats, so he will be doing fine here. He doesn't need it. And General Vici, meanwhile, is going to take down this top turret. He will have more than enough time to chip it down while Kyler G walks back to lane. He does not have his full Trinity Force yet, but he will after this.
Yep, looking at how much money he has in his pocket, he'll definitely have enough to finish it off, and a little bit of change after effect.
Now Rito Torchic still getting good poke damage off onto Archites and Dalaran. He's making sure to weave in these pokes while after Dalaran has used his Rocket Grab. Now, Mediocre Hats has ultimate, but he cannot even get onto Rito Torchic. The onslaught of shadows coming through. That's Mediocre Hats going down. Kinkshamer on a killing spree. Dalaran going to fall as well. It's a double kill for the Kassadin and disaster for Perp and Black.
Yep, getting a double kill while Dragon's up means that this is a pretty easy Dragon. Having your Rift Herald to go ahead and push out this lane, getting a lot of gold for your ADC, while Shiny Bidoof is going to go ahead and start up the Dragon because he knows his team is in the area and able to rotate over for the Dragon.
No chance of a steal, no easy lockdown because both the Blitzcrank and the Vi are dead. So now GSM, great gank there. It is that 4v3 ended up going wildly in GSM's favor, and now they might be able to find a pick onto Archites. Rito Torchic is tanking under the tower, but he will not get Rocket Grab. The Dragon goes down, and Archites barely lives. Senna does not have the ultimate. Dawning Shadow.
Yeah,
I don't know that one at all.
Dawning Shadow, or the Railgun, as some people like to call it. So, yeah, not going to have that available. I do want to point out that York either already has or is getting some jungle buffs where Monster Camps leaves Graves.
Oh, and that is going to be General Vici fighting off Duckster 2v1. He is going to get a solo kill. Dalarum couldn't get into the fight. Mediocre Hats is looking for a way to use the Assault and Battery. He is going to get it. It is now a 3v2. Mediocre Hat's going to go down immediately. This is such a strong Cassidon already. Kyler G taking so much damage. General Vici going to get pulled in by Dalarum. Kyler G does not get killed. Dalarum going to go low, but Kingshamer flashes forward, is going to pick that up. We seem to have frozen in the middle of the team fight.
I'm still going on.
There we go.
Here.
Took a little bit,
so
but Kyler G is down, and Kingshamer finally gets shut down. Sorry, my client froze. And it's going to be fine, though. Archites, though, takes a lot of damage. Rito Torchic goes down under the turret, takes 3 turret shots, and Archites manages to walk away with a kill.
Alright, well, I'm a little bit ahead of you, so I'm just gonna rewind about 15 seconds and hope that's around where you are.
Yeah, I'm at about 1852 right now, so...
1852. Okay.
Just hit 19 minutes, but it is 12-7
right,
here. GSM over Perp and Black. And Shiny Bidoof trying to take away this blue buff, but Mediocre Hats will smite it away. And that was such a good team fight for GSM that just kind of turned sour at the end when Rito Torchic went a little too deep under the turret.
Yeah, he did go a little too deep. They did get a huge shutdown off of Kingshamer in that fight because he tried to go onto Kyler G, but ended up dying. And then Rito Torchic using his flash in order to jump on and pick up that kill, and then looking for a little bit more because fasting that doesn't exactly feel great when you're in lane, but once you get out of lane and start taking these kills, it feels amazing.
Yeah, that is, he was like, wait, I need kills, I'm fasting Senna. He went a little bit too deep, he went down under the turret, and however, Kingshamer picking up more and more kills. He's finished his Archangel Staff, he's 4 stacks on his Rod of Ages, so this is a Cassidon that on his next item, I mean, he's going to turn into this late-game powerhouse that you need to be scared of after that.
Yeah, he is going to be huge, like, with all of these squishies, Duster and Archites, they have to play a lot more carefully against him because of how much damage Cassidon has, and being System 1 means that he's already so far ahead.
Now Catalyst does get pulled in, the Onslaught of Shadows comes through, is going to find this, the Fear onto Duckster, but Kingshamer is going to get ganked and taken down here in the bot lane. Kyler G is going to flip Catalyst on him, the Railgun comes out, Kyler G taking some damage, he's ignited, Shiny Bidoof gonna get on top, and Rito Torchic with the kill. Now Dalarum is on the run, but the flash forward is going to pull back Shiny Bidoof, but he gets to walk out thanks to the Piercing Darkness. Now Mediocre Hats is back for more. They're going to find 1, they're going to find 2, and will they find 3? No, Shiny Bidoof knows better. General Vici, though, he's going in 1v3. He is going to pick up Mediocre Hats in return. And just another good teleport here. General Vici has finished the Death's Dance, but Shiny Bidoof might be in trouble. No, Dalarum pulls in General Vici instead, and he's going to go down. Vici on a rampage. He's not taking any damage. He's going to live it all.
New Death's Dance, man. All the tanky stats, also taking damage later means that you're anti-burst, and you can survive your fights against these tanks as well. I love it.
And look at how much he's healing. Duckster comes over the wall. Vici is unstoppable, and he solo dives a turret for another solo kill. GSM is 5k in the lead here at this point, and they are only getting stronger.
League of Bruisers. We even see that Urgot is on his way to build a Death Stance of his own, seeing that General Vici is having a lot of success with that. That means that, you know, it can't be that bad of an item on for Kyler G. He's not going to get the full benefits that Death Stance has because Urgot is a ranged champion, but he will be able to see quite a bit of benefit for himself.
Kyler G was just standing still waiting there, so Catalyst picks up the kill as GSM collapses on them. There's no vision to be had in the jungle of Perp and Black, but Catalyst now has to flash away as Mediocre Hats goes in, but gets interrupted by Shiny Bidoof. Rito Torchic tries to find the kill. He will. Kingshamer coming in. He's going to find Dalarum. It's a double kill for the Senna. And now Archites wants to find something, but jumping into this 5-man of GSM would be nothing short of suicide.
Especially with General VC here and King Shamer in the sidelines. They are doing tons of damage. Senna, a little less so thanks to the nerfs, but she's still doing quite a bit on her own.
Senna, though, is going to get picked up by Archites. The bubble was zoning off the Senna, and now King Shamer cannot find it. Oh, he's going to jump forward, gets a lot of damage. He's going to finally pick up the kill. Goes so low for his trouble. But GSM walks away 1 for 1 here. Oh, does not get to 2 for 1.
Very close to it, though. And the ghouls are going to come on out and jump onto Dusker real quick while the shiny Bidoof has been working on this dragon the whole time. A lot more damage coming out for his team.
Yeah, shiny Bidoof knows that, you know, he's Hecarim, he's not super fed, he's got the Cinder Hulk, he's building the Triforce, but he really isn't in that kind of position of strength that the rest of his team is, so he knows that he can just take Dragon while the rest of his team fights, and they will be zoning Perp and Black off of the Dragon. But now the Baron is started up because of the full reset that GSM took, whether by choice or by death in the fountain. Mediocre Hats trying to stop King Shamer, but King Shamer is very strong. He is going to buy enough time for GSM to get to the Dragon and stop it.
Yeah, he does have fully stacked Sayer's Embrace, so he is going to be doing a ton of damage, 8 stacks onto his Rod of Ages now, so it's a quite terrifying, I'd say, if you're trying to go toe-to-toe against King Shaper right now.
Meanwhile, Catalyst is working on his second item here. He's got his Gargoyle Stone Plate, and he's looking to finish off a Sunfire Cape for item number 2. This is interesting considering how much damage Duckster has been doing to him, and Dalaran's been pulling him up as well, but still, most of the damage is coming out from Mediocre Hats and Archites here.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Catalyst is just looking for a little bit of fun, seeing all the damage that his teammates are doing. It's like, I want to do damage. Give me the Bombi Cinder, the new changes to it. Give me tons of health. I want to do damage.
Give me tons of health, tons of damage. I am a champion that does nothing but immobilizing abilities. So let's do this. And so now, 20-11 is the kill score. 7,000 is the gold lead, and GSM looks to dance around this Baron and potentially take this away from Perp and Black and shut down their hopes of defeating the number 1 team in Shadow Isles.
Yeah, the number 1 team has been performing pretty well right here. Objective League, they've turned it around. They have 3 dragons.
Oh, Dalaran might be picked. King Shamer is here, looking for the split push. He is going to find something. The railgun comes out. King Shamer is going to live. The ultimate coming out from Mediocre Hats will pick up the kill, but that is going to be the stun and the kill for Bidoof. It's a double. Now the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to come out, but he will not be able to find anything. That was a really good rotate by GSM. They stop Perp and Black from walking away with just a pick. They end up turning it into a 3 for 1.
Yep, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and start up this Baron. General Vici in the bot side means that someone has, not just someone, but multiple people might have to come and try to respond to him, seeing that how strong he is, Kyrie G, respecting how much damage that General Vici can do, and he's just kind of going to run off and wait for his team to get here.
Yeah, with the 3rd level Maiden of the Mist, General Vici will be able to solo take the tower. 2v1, the Baron comes out, and there was no attempt at a steal made. General Vici has to flash away because 4 members are on him, but he gets taken into the meat grinder. Rito Torchic, though, picked up on the backside as Duckster manages to make something out of nothing for his team.
Yep, Zoe is a fun champion. You know, I love just recalling after my team gets Baron, get hit by Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and I know that the end is coming soon.
They, Perp and Black are going to pick up 2 on the back end. That is 2 fewer Baron buffs, and crucially, one of those 2 is General Vici, who is the consummate split pusher for GSM. So they won't be able to split push with nearly as much effectiveness. However, the Dragon coming up in a minute is soul point for GSM.
Yeah, they do want to contest this because they don't want to see all the damage that Catalyst could potentially do. But more importantly, memes aside, Rito Torchic and King Shamer would just have that much more damage and burst coming out of them, as well as General Vici being much more of the split pushing menace that he already is.
Shiny Bidoof does walk into two members, but I'm not sure if Mediocre Hats can do anything. Now the engage comes on into Dalaran. He is going to go down. The Onslaught of Shadows is going to get Mediocre Hats on the run. The teleport coming in from General Vici. Kyler G is here as well. Catalyst takes a lot of damage, but Kyler G is burning down faster. That's Shiny Bidoof finally falling. Catalyst in the middle of the fight, but that's going to be two members picked up now. King Shamer jumps onto the back line. He's going to find Duckster, and this is a free soul for GSM. They trade Ace for one. It looks like they're going to split up and try and push minions into the base while Rito Torchic takes down this soul point.
Yeah, I mean, the benefits of fasting, she's basically another support, even though she's technically a carry. So you can have her do the more menial tasks of taking the dragon while your team goes ahead and takes down the entire base.
Catalyst and General Vici are going to pick up this inhibitor turret. Only Dalaran is alive, and now Mediocre Hat's coming up as well. It looks like GSM are going to have to back off. My screen is frozen again. And let me just move forward. I'm just gonna jump forward a little bit.
All right, not too much happening, but I believe an engage went on to Catalyst from Mediocre Hats, and then looks like General Vici was there in order to stop Mediocre Hats from getting a kill off of Catalyst.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is my computer or Riot, but it's frozen again.
I see. Blame Riot. Client's broken. They're going to fix in 6 months. Classic things.
Classic Riot. Okay. Well, hopefully this will fix itself. But it looks like GSM is currently going for the end. They're moving in. They found 2 picks on the Mediocre Hats and Dalaran already, and now with. I mean, you can see on the screen General Vici. Oh, there we go. Finally. General Vici forces a flash from Archites, and it looks like GSM is going to have to back off. They're missing 3 members. They can't just 2-man this, but they get 2 inhibitor turrets for their trouble. I'm about at 29 minutes and 30 seconds, by the way.
Oh boy, I'm a whole minute ahead of you, I think.
Yeah.
29:30, right?
29:40 now.
Okay, so I'm just a little bit behind, but that's fine. I'm not play-by-play, so I can still talk about the game pretty well. And yeah, they are looking.
Oh, Rito Torchic might get picked off. He is slept, but King Shamer is going to pick up Duckster. Now he jumps over the wall onto Kyler G. Dalaran might be able to find the pull. He does. That's going to be the pick. Rito Torchic goes down. King Shamer is as well. It's actually a 2-for-2, which is a horrible trade for GSM, considering it's their 2 carries.
Yeah, and Caston still having their bounties means that it's just extra gold for this Kaisa in order to scale up. We do have 3 items on her, a lot of AP, probably having enough to upgrade the W, so we might be able to see a little bit of W spamming into this middle of the team fights in order to get finish off some of these people who have a lot of stacks but are just too far away for Archites to land any more autos. Yeah,
this is the triple upgrade Kaisa. This 3-item spike gets enough damage, ability power, and attack speed to level all 3 into their second form. So now, Mediocre Hat's looking to find an engage. They have 4 members here to GSM's 3. Catalyst has jumped in. He pops the Gargoyle Stoneplate. Railgun comes out, does some damage. Mediocre Hats is going to be the first one who goes low, but he might not fall. Shiny Bidoof is going to fall, however. And this is not a great engage. It's 2-for-1 already. Catalyst gets pulled into the meat grinder. And GSM trying to fight a 3v5.
Under tower as well. Pretty questionable, but we do still have General Vici full HP, and having a lot of tank stats means that he can still salvage this for his team and look for something such as this tower while his team is rotating over to and trying to get some other objectives.
General Vici solo tanking this turret. Will he get the inhibitor turret? He will not. The shutdown comes out. Archites takes the kill, and now Rito Torchic is the focus. Mediocre Hats does not have assault and battery, so Rito Torchic is going to be able to walk away. Barely. But again, General Vici down for 45 more seconds, and Kinkshamer is solo pushing Nexus turrets. GSM has devolved into a solo queue team here. They are just trying to end through every means possible instead of just hunkering down and waiting for this Baron.
No, just fall in one by one, and eventually these towers will fall.
Hopefully. Hopefully eventually the towers will fall.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's the plan. Sometimes you don't execute the plan, but that's because you didn't throw the plan out the window.
Yeah, I'm just confused. Is they know GSM knows that they're stronger. They know that they can wait for picks, and just have General Vici solo push, split push, but in a safe manner. Why they just keep taking these weird engages to get things that they're going to get anyway. Okay, Kinkshamer with the solo kill onto Duckster knows that no one's there. They do have vision in the red side jungle. They knew that 2 members were there already. So Mediocre Hats has to go for a steal here, or else this game is certainly lost for Perp and Black. The ultimate comes over the wall. Mediocre Hats is going to take so much damage. He's going to go down. Shiny Bidoof with the kill, and Kinkshamer zoning 3 members as General Vici walks in. Kinkshamer has the ultimate. He's not going to get picked off, but now he will. The Meat Grinder will take him down, but that is another Baron in the pockets of GSM. While General Vici starts to push these minions forward, the only inhibitor left is the top inhibitor, but GSM moves into the mid lane. Pings come out onto the top lane. They've decided that they don't just want to NA ram it in the mid lane. They're going to go for the split push.
Yeah, trying to move their influence of Baron buff minions to multiple lanes rather than just having one lane have the Baron buffs. Because you don't, no matter how many people you have in the mid lane, it only needs one person in order to buff out these minions.
But now the 4-man here for GSM, they've got General Vici on their side. They are going to get a lot of chip damage onto Dalaran. Duckster takes some damage as well. Shiny Bidoof tries to go in, but he just gets torn apart immediately. Kyler G has to flash away, and Dalaran is going to go down. Burrito Torchic is the subject of attention for Duckster, but Catalyst is going to zone away the mid laner of Perp and Black. The teleport comes in by Kinkshamer, but he's forced to jump away immediately. He's looking for something. Can he find Archites? No, he will have to back off.
The TP buffs are pretty interesting because of how much movement speed he gained. He was, I think that was a combination of home guards alongside the TP movement speed buff. So moving pretty fast there, but not finding a pick. It looks like GSM.
Kinkshamer finally goes down. The killer instinct is going to come out from Kaisa. Now Rito Torchic is going to pick that kill up. He's going to find Duckster as well, possibly. Mediocre Hats is low. Mediocre Hats is down, and finally, GSM will be taking out this series. They battle it back after a 1-0 deficit.
Yeah, having fun with their memes in the first game, doing a little limit testing with what they could play, but really bring it back around in these last 2 games with what they usually bring to the table, having the classic late game scaling champions that they have, the infinite scaling Senna, or the super hyper carry Jinx that she is, alongside of Karthus and the Kassadin, and the Genovici pulling out the classic York.
Two team comps for GSM that look almost entirely different, but they do the exact same thing. They scale into the late game, they beat your face in, and they take down your Nexus. So GSM will move to 8-1. And meanwhile, Perp and Black will fall to 1-8. Unfortunately, they are long out of contention for playoffs. So next week is week 10, is the final week of regular season play before we start quarterfinals. So GSM looking to come into first pole position as they are 8-1, uncontested there at the top of the standings.
Yeah, because Return to Mill 6 had a unfortunate game against the Dog with Hat gang, and the last time we shoutcast, I believe it was a solo cast by you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Everyone chanting Game 3 or don't watch Game 3 with Return to Mill 6 Dog with Hat gang. So unfortunately, they will not be the tied for first place, but Return to Mill 6 will have are pretty high in the standings. and most likely will have the chance to see if they can reclaim their title from GSM in those quarter semifinals and then the finals.
So, thank you everyone for watching tonight. Unfortunately, because of match history, we are forced to just show live games as they're played, but this was a lot of fun, and it always feels a little bit better knowing that this is actually live and that no one can spoil it beforehand. So, thank you everybody for watching. I have been Vid.
I've been Let's Go Dragon.
And someone will be back tomorrow for tomorrow's game, which I believe is going to be Goliath Esports Lions versus Cosmic Flow. So make sure to tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time. And yeah, we'll see you then. Have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call?